Uh-oh.
It's college football this Saturday. Oh my God. It's so righteous to see Teddy Two Gloves in a Dolphins jersey.
Just because he's a Miami kid?
Yep. That's exactly why.
I will say, though, I mean, as backup quarterbacks go, he should be top 10 in the league.
Yeah. He had that. He was rocking the 2 orange gloves. I was like, oh yeah. All right, listen a minute.
Let's do this.
to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Monday. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. When are you going to make it to San Diego? When are you going to get the Four Corners done?
Let's see. The Friday night, Saturday morning of Labor Day weekend.
All right. I just want to know when you're finishing the four corners of the country. Pacific Northwest, Jersey, back in Florida tomorrow, and then a week from Friday, you'll head west again.
Exactly. That is true. I hadn't thought about that. This is my Dean Smith approach to the beginning of the football season. Yes, it is.
Like a little more scoring than Dean had, but yes, David, you're running the four corners.
From Tijuana to the Niagara Falls.
I mean, let's face it, Mark. You know, Dean was the only one that could consistently hold Michael under 20. So I don't know what you expect from me. He's a Hall of Famer after all. But Miller and Moulton on this fine Monday, we do hope you had a great weekend. Mark had an interesting weekend. I believe one of the few in the last 10 years, right?
Oh, the only in the last 10 years. I was alone all weekend. It was very interesting.
Well, I just didn't know if there was, maybe the wife and daughter went to visit the in-laws in Pittsburgh and left you alone on a weekend, I just didn't know. But your daughter is what? Entering third grade. So what? Around 8?
She's 8. She's in third grade. Yeah, they went up and caught the USA Gymnastics competitions over the weekend in Tampa. And luckily, I missed out on the whole excursion, David.
Now, first off, full disclosure, you were a great husband because you paid attention and you saw where the championships were taking place. And, you've made about $7.23 here as part of the Florida Sports Network, but you used $7.21 of it and saved up and then treated your wife to a 4-day gymnastics extravaganza.
She geeked out on this in ways. I mean, got pictures with the men's gymnastics team, got pictures with the women's gymnastics team, like she was 14 years old. She was so geeked out on this, it's not even funny.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So she did the whole 4 days, right?
She did 4 days. And Saturday morning, because she came home Friday night and then left again with my daughter on Saturday morning. And she did say on Friday, because the seats were really good, and she starts talking to a few people, and they're all like, "So who are you here to see?" And she's like, "Everybody." What coach do you work with? Are you a coach? No.
That's funny that she could have had a whole alternate, life thing. She could have told lie after lie after lie.
Who knows? She may have. Maybe that's all I got out of the whole story, David. You never know.
Mark, since apparently they came home and you were already asleep. So you can't go through a woman's purse, but you need to look at her straight in the face, in my estimation, and say, so how many business cards did you get? But that's awesome. Now I will say, all right, your daughter, though, I mean, today's the school day.
Right. She got home sometime just before midnight last night.
Wow. I'm guessing we all have these days, but as an adult, it comes, with the whole package. I'm guessing this is her first, hey, you got to suck it up on short turnaround and go to school day in her young life.
There's not a doubt in my mind. I went up to say good morning, and she was pretty much out of it this morning. So I'm guessing mom and daughter are going to have a rough get up here in the next few minutes. But that's, like they say, David, you're going to hoot with the owls. You have to soar with the eagles. And we'll see if she can soar this evening.
I may write that down. That's almost inspiring right there.
That's a bar at 6:05 a.m.
So that's fantastic, though. That's awesome, and yes, it will be great when they both stagger home at their respective hours.
Yep.
And you, of course, you'll be piling on the energy and enthusiasm. Hey guys, how you doing? Miss ya. So how was it?
Yeah, I think I'll probably just let them slide. I'll take
Oh,
another night off and let them just slither into bed early and hope for some Monday night baseball somewhere, David. I
all
mean,
right.
I was locked into MLB Network all weekend long. That's what when the house is empty, what do? You watch a lot of baseball and a lot of golf and show your age.
That is a funny thing. So when you're single or when you're younger and married, you talk about, boy, if I ever got a weekend again, boy, what wouldn't I do? So then, of course, you get a little older and you actually get one of those weekends. So, Mark, what'd you do this weekend?
I mean, big weekend. I went for a walk on Sunday morning.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Excuse me. You're making me laugh. Wait, they left Saturday morning. So you did the first thing you did was go
I hit
for
some golf balls.
Oh, okay.
I went to the driving range for a little bit. Sunday, I went for a walk. Those were the big events of the weekend. Had some berries.
So you had about 36 to 40 hours to yourself. You hit some golf balls and you went for a walk.
Yeah, watched a movie. Watched a couple of documentaries. Yeah, it was all in all solid weekend for the old guy.
So you didn't pick up the phone and see, whether or not you could sneak out to the little guys' night, somebody at the club, somebody at your business associates, nothing?
No. Nope. Nope. Be able to call those, but no, not really.
Okay.
Not really.
I'm almost wondering if that's an early nomination for a poll question. So, guys, you get a weekend to yourself. What do you do? Because, Mark, while I'm laughing, it's not like my weekends are a whole lot different when I'm there by myself. I mean, I might sleep in a little bit longer. I might actually go out on the lanai a couple times and go, hey, you're outside. I mean, it's crazy. I go check the mail, think that, I mean, this is my exercise for the day. So I mean, me. It's not like my weekends when I'm solo are a whole lot different. But I just wanted to see what yours are. You usually, you have a life, you have friends.
There was a time when I did. I really don't anymore. So I don't really have much of a life, David.
It's funny how every year there seems to be less of both.
There's no doubt.
It is funny how that works. Miller and Moulton on this Monday. We hope that you had a terrific weekend, whether it was a big family weekend or whether you were also by yourself, and you could compare whether or not you were more active than Mark or you were less active. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just I don't know if you can do this. You'll probably get fined by the league. But I think if I'm the Bucks right now, I don't know if I take many more snaps before September 11th against the Cowboys. That's kind of where I'm at right now, if I'm the Bucks, because if it's a day that ends in Y, seemingly there's a good chance you're going to lose the starting offensive lineman.
It's getting late early for the Tampa Bay Bucks, David.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think to the point where you're going to have to start trading draft picks for guys. I mean, let's be honest. Come on, let's cut right to this is Brady's last year. This is the last time that you are a legitimate Super Bowl contender in August until ... You might as well go all in. I mean, that's why we're playing, right? I think your fan base would not only understand it, I think they would appreciate it if you start trading away some draft picks for some starting offensive linemen right now. I really do. Because also in theory, you're going to need these guys potentially for next year when you've got a substandard replacement for Tom Brady. In fact, you could argue you'd need them more. But I mean, that's my thought, Mark. That at this point, if I'm the Bucks, I'm just calling up people, going, listen, if you want to unload some salary, we'll take them off your hand. Yeah, we'll give up. Mark, at this point, I might give up both of my second day draft choices in next year's draft. And I've already given up my 4th rounder for next year. So I might trade my 2nd and my 3rd rounder, get 2 starters, plug them in. Thank you very much. And only have a 1st round pick next year until the 5th round.
I don't know what else they can do, because they thought they could just piecemeal this together. They've lost another lineman. The other part of this, and David, I love your aggressiveness. Someone's got to bite. It's August 22nd. You're not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, are you getting a start from somebody?
I think I can. I think I can. I do. First off, there are 6 teams out there that are bad, and they know they're bad, and they'd be willing to do it because they just got new general managers who are gearing for the future anyway, and they've got 2 offensive linemen on 5 of these teams who aren't going to be part of their future when they're finally good. Now, I wouldn't call the Bears because they don't have anybody who's any good. All right, but I might call Atlanta. And now they don't have 5 guys who are good, but they got 2. And I might offer to take one of them off their hands. Maybe they won't deal with me because I'm a division rival. Okay, but I would start working the phones. Absolutely, I would. And I'm willing to and I would just let it be known, I'm willing to give up day 2 draft choices for offensive linemen. That's the message I would get out there right now to the other 31 teams. I am willing to give up day 2 draft choices. If you're interested, call me. And my guess is they'd have 6 teams call them, minimum. And as RCB points out in our Twitch chat room, yeah, Brady needs to, he's talked Gronk out of retirement. All right, he's talked guys into signing with the Bucks. You got to call Ali Marpet and say, dude, I'm sorry, I need you desperately.
Miller and Moulton, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, having a hell of a preseason, and not in a good way, as the injury bug has hit Tampa in a big way. Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening to us on this great Monday morning. The starting 5, 20 minutes away on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the 2 together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, Brown Chicken. Here's my thoughts. You can have one VIP day at the City of Palms. Do you want volume or do you want to see the best? I think the best day is semifinal day. Usually the last four teams are phenomenal.
This is true.
So I think I would do VIP day. Plus it's more like a half a day because they play them back to back. So it'd be like a 4 or 5 hour experience. That would be the day I would pick. KW, I agree. Throwing a few shekels on the Saints is a good play. Absolutely. And yeah, if you're not betting the Ravens in the preseason, you're really not paying attention.
The win streak continues.
22. Amazing.
I was in high school.
Well, and they covered a pretty big line too.
What was it?
5 on the road.
The commentator of the Ravens game was like, it might not matter to everyone else, but it does matter to this team.
Well, the commentators were the new number one team on Fox. That was Burkhart and Olsen.
Oh, yeah.
It is great to be in the New York metropolitan area when the Yankees are going through a tailspin. And man, oh man, I don't know if there's much more that can send the New York metropolitan area into a tizzy than the Yankees going on a 3-week bender.
So the Rays are second in the AL East.
Tied. I believe the Rays, the Jays, and the Mariners are basically all tied.
Damn. Oh, we're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, top of the morning to you. Happy Monday. Can you put those two words together? Happy and Monday?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I didn't want to be overly enthusiastic and have, folks in their cars on their way to work going, what are you talking about? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. By the way, we've got magic numbers. And I threw in an extra one. 4. Yeah, that's right. 4 days away from Chase Elliott at the Napa on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers. Huh? The number 1 overall seed going into the NASCAR playoffs. He clinched that yesterday with his 4th place finish at the Glen. Chase Elliott will be at Napa on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers midday Friday. Right? What's it, late morning?
Late morning.
Like 11-ish?
Gets there at 11 and he starts signing at 11:30 if I've got the itinerary right.
And I believe Miller and Moulton will be broadcasting live Our show on Friday, 4 days away. So 4 days away from Chase Elliott, 5 days away from week 0 of the college football season. By the way, Gary Sharp will join us live from Omaha tomorrow morning to preview Nebraska Northwestern in the Cornhusker season. And can Scott Frost make it to Thanksgiving?
Better win on Saturday.
I was going to say, Mark, we all love the lists of the first ones to get fired. Okay, and you got to think Scott Frost is really high on that list. Really high. So 4 days away from Chase Elliott, 5 days away from week 0, 10 days away from the official start of the college football season, the week 1 Pitt, West Virginia extravaganza. And then 17 days away from Bills Rams. 17, folks. We are doing this. Yeah. Hot damn. All right. Miller and Moulton, did you hear the story? First off, I'm not a UFC guy, but man, oh man, what a night, Saturday night in the UFC. First off, they had one of those late classic knockouts that UFC hardly ever has, and boxing also historically. I mean, you remember the championship fights in which the guy who's losing and he's got no shot, and all the other guy has to do is make it to the bell, and he wins and retains his title. You know, thinking like Mike Weaver, John Tate for the heavyweight title in the late 70s in Knoxville, Tennessee. You know, Tate's pitching a shutout. We're in the 15th round, and Weaver takes him out with a left hook. You know, apparently
I was thinking about Tate in Knoxville, Tennessee. Was it in the late 70s? That's what I was thinking of too.
That was easily one of the greatest UFC fights I have ever seen. I mean, they were writing his obituary.
Apparently, apparently in the 5-minute final round, the announcers were verbally writing the guy who's losing's obituary. They were all taking turns. And then during a Jim Rome pause, he, big leg kick, bang, knocks the guy out cold. That's it. It's over with less than a minute to go in the fight. But during the whole Saturday night thing, they've got those long pre-fight shows. And I guess between Joe Rogan and Rob Gronkowski, they made a little news. Gronk revealed that, Brady and I were going to Vegas. Oh, yeah, it was a done deal. We were both going. And then Gruden at the very last minute squashed it. Oh, really? What? No, do tell us more. No, this is interesting. No. We'll wait for the fights. No, talk about this a little bit if you would. Really? So, Mark, I thought the best thing I saw on social media about it was that means John Gruden helped the Tampa Bay Bucks win 2 Super Bowls. Hello. So that
was he tampering too in Tampa?
No, because this was when they were both free agents. First off, I think Gronk was retired. And remember Brady after 2019, so he's trying to decide where he's going. And remember, we thought it was either Miami had interest, but they weren't good enough for him. And it was, are the Chargers going to take Brady, or are they going to draft, Herbert is what we thought would be there for the Chargers. And then there was Tampa Bay's interest, which you and I saw coming, but a lot of other people didn't. But apparently, and if you can remember back 2+ years, there was talk of there's a mystery team. There's a mystery team out there. And, sometimes you go, that's bull. And then other times you're like, no, I'm telling you, there's another team out there, but we just don't know who it is. But they're talking. It might not be the Chargers or the Bucks. Well, apparently, it was done. And what I find interesting is that Joe Rogan made it sound like he was the assistant general manager doing the deal. He helped arrange it. And Gruden at the last second decided, no, I'm good with Carr. Oh. Okay. Huh. That's interesting.
We need to get Gronk on the interview circuit more. Every time Gronk talks, something interesting happens, David.
Totally. I mean, that's just one UFC card. Well, hell, let's wait another few weeks, get him on another. Gronk, listen, you gave us the bombshell last time around. What do you got this time? Could be something little. What have you been holding in? Rogan apparently on air was like, Gronk, I was never intending to ever tell that publicly. But I can confirm you're right. So how about that?
That was a little bombshell that dropped for those watching UFC, and then the rest of us got it the next morning or late that night, however you were absorbing your Twitter.
So that's an interesting story. And the funny thing is, it's not like their quarterback sucks and their tight end is Waller, who's what, top 3 in the league?
Absolutely.
I mean, so it's funny that two positions, I mean, it's not Brady and Gronk, but it's not like, it's not like New Orleans, quite frankly, who you wonder if they have either a quarterback or a tight end. I mean, the Raiders do have a quarterback and a tight end. But I thought that was interesting.
It was interesting. And maybe more interesting than pinning Gronk down to say, hey, are you really going to come back? Even though you keep telling us no. His history is much better than his future, certainly with this story.
Listen, Mark, if the Bucs preseason and practice continues the way it has been, they may be telling Gronk, listen, can you just keep eating, gain about 20 pounds, and come in and play guard, please? So
that's what they need.
They do. They need linemen.
That's
multiple.
Now 3 guards that have disappeared since the end of last season.
2 centers and 3 guards they're down, if you think about it, big picture. 2 centers and 3 guards. All righty then.
For a quarterback that doesn't like pressure directly up the middle.
And who is immobile.
Right.
Correct. This would seem to be a problem. Miller and Moulton, not the smartest guys in the world, but we're just doing simple math here. Oh, I'm sorry. Where were you guys like the strongest in the league last year amongst all teams? Oh, yeah, not allowing pressure up the middle. Okay, what was it? 3 pressures, 1
3
sack?
3 pressures, 0 sacks.
Yeah, okay. How's it look this year? Well, got to be honest, kind of looks like the Bears and the Steelers interior line right now. I mean, that's how bad it looks. Mm-hmm. And people are complaining that Brady's not there for practice. Yeah, you don't want him there. No. No, stay away, Tom. Stay away.
He may never come back at this rate. Would you?
Nope. Where's Brady? He's over at Ali Marpet's house. He's trying to talk about a retirement.
And then Tretter's next, and he's just going to keep working the circuit until he can bring a few more linemen to the Tampa Bay area. We will bring you the starting 5. Right. It's next on Miller and Moulton.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the 2 together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Need a poll question.
Do you want to do it around this Keonta Johnson guy? Because he's going to sacrifice his $5 million insurance policy. He just signed with K-State over the weekend. He's coming back. It's an awkward I don't know, if you have enough time to frame the question, if you know what I mean, but
it's really awkward only because people don't know who he is. That's the biggest problem.
Right. How about if you don't put Keonta Johnson in it? What if you just ask the question? Okay. Maybe not. But do we come up with one or two other things and put it in a poll question with the Ravens 22-game preseason winning streak? Like some of the more remarkable things. What's more remarkable, unlikely?
Yeah, I was just thinking, do the Bucs still win the division with all their injuries on the offensive line?
There you go. That works. I like it. So far, brown chicken, no. I have not had anybody complain to the front desk or bang on my door or no. Now, I will say, in hotels, when I'm up against a wall and I think a bed's on the other side, I do take all the pillows and stack them and try to create some sort of little sound barrier. Yeah, KW, they should explain it a little bit better. Of course he doesn't like pressure up the middle, but he can't escape it. Others can escape it.
10 seconds.
I'll be home tomorrow. I'll be home tomorrow night. Thank you, Benny.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 4 days away from Chase Elliott making a personal appearance in Southwest Florida at the Napa Auto Parts on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers. He'll be there from 11 to 1. We'll be broadcasting live Friday morning. Miller and Moulton, 4 days away. 5 days away from week 0. 10 days away from week 1 of the college football season. Kicks off on a Thursday, ends on a Monday night. Hence the 5-day extravaganza. And we're 17 days away from Bills and Rams, baby. 9 days away until rosters are set. So there. I say we just get to it. It was a busy weekend. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Mark. I'm going to try to get it all in. You jump in when you want. Whatever interests you. Tampa Bay says they expect Brady at practice. Quote, it'll be this week early. Unquote. Brady's been out since Thursday, August 11th. For personal reasons. It's our hope that Brady stays away for another week and a half. Starts flying around the league, acting as general manager, trying to talk guys into playing for Tampa Bay, particularly on the offensive line. Oh, by the way, it was revealed over the weekend that Brady and Gronk were going to Vegas in 2020.
To play football, not to go gamble.
Right. What maybe started as an idea for a 4-day bender was kind of like, why don't we just play football here while we're here? Quote, it was a done deal, unquote, until John Gruden at the last minute squashed it. Huh. How about that? Gronk confirmed it, that the story's true. Kayvon Thibodeau, 5th overall pick of the draft. Did you see the block? Everybody's going crazy about the block. It was a low block on his knee. It was an unnecessary block. It's a legal block, though. It is. So anyway, he got a right knee injury. It looks as if he's escaped a major injury. He'll be further evaluated today. Now, I think they should not allow you to block below the waist if they're interested in player safety. Once again, it's kind of like when the NCAA talked about student athletes. Either be serious about it or stop mentioning it. Same with the NFL. Okay? I mean, this is real easy. If you're interested in player safety, you say to people you can't block below the waist, or at least the thigh. But we all know they're not interested. They just want to appear as if they're interested. Mark, one of the most amazing streaks continues. The Baltimore Ravens won again. 22 consecutive preseason wins. 22 in a row. They beat Arizona in Arizona 24-17. Oh, by the way, J.J. Watt has COVID for the Cardinals. See, he's getting his injury out of the way early.
That's how you do it, David. Get this COVID stuff done now. Don't worry about the regular season. Don't even talk. Don't even say you're sick. Just do it now. Good way to miss a week of preseason.
Monday Night Football tonight, if you're bored. Atlanta at the Jets. Jets are getting 2.5 at home, Mark. It's preseason. I just thought I'd throw that out there for the degenerates out there. Wait a minute. I can get a home dog? Yeah, you can. It's August.
Chasing Monday night home dogs in the preseason. That's what I like to hear.
Major League Baseball, the Rays took 2 out of 3 from Kansas City. They've won 7 of 9. They won yesterday 3-2. There's now a 3-way tie. All the wild card teams in the American League are tied. Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Seattle. Speaking of Toronto, they went for the 4-game sweep of the Yankees. Didn't get it. Yankees won 4-2. Their lead in the East is 8. But they are freaking out. Mark, yesterday it was Paul O'Neill Day. He got his, number retired because the Yankees don't have enough of those. And,
Right.
Gets his whole thing out in Monument Park and all that because they need more. So Hal Steinbrenner there was on the field. It got booed. Owner of the Yankees booed. They mentioned O'Neill in his remarks. Thanks, Brian Cashman. Booed. Right. They got the 4th best record in baseball. They lead the division by 8. I mean, they are freaking out in the New York metropolitan area over there.
They have the worst record for the month of August, if I'm not mistaken. They've lost like 6 series in a row. There's reason to freak out.
but you know my point. This is not the Jacksonville Jaguars here. All right. I mean, this is the Yankees. Their last losing season, by the way, was during the George Herbert Walker Bush administration.
Yeah, they're not going to have a losing season this year either, David, but they're still freaking out, and I understand it.
Okay. It was the Little League game. Major League Baseball Little League game. Baltimore beat Boston 5-3. Of course, the Sox lost because it's a series against an AL East team, and they're not allowed to win those. They're 2 games below 500. White Sox and Cleveland were postponed, and then the Twins lost to Texas. So the Guardians lead is a 1.5 in the Central, 2.5 over the White Sox. Twins also 2.5 back in the wild card. Mets won a wild one in Philly. They were down 4-0, 7-4 in the 7th, 8-7 in the 9th. Scored 3 in the 7th, 3 in the 9th. 110-9. They took 3 out of 4 from the Phillies, and with the Braves losing to Houston 5-4, the Mets lead in the East is 4. The Houston lead, by the way, is 11.5 in the West. Braves have an 8-game lead as to who's going to host the 4-5 wild card matchup. Yeah, it'll be the second-place team in the NL East is going to host that series. Cardinals are rolling, Mark. They've won 7 in a row. Their lead in the Central is 5. 5. Last weekend at this time, they were playing a series against Milwaukee for first place in the division. Now they lead the Brewers by 5. They beat Arizona 6-4. Pujols, 2 homers on Saturday. He's up to 692 for Pujols. Brewers beat the Cubs 5-2. Milwaukee's a 1.5 back for the final wild card spot in the National League. Padres hold down the 5 seed by a 0.5 game over the Phillies. They beat Washington 2-1. Giants beat Colorado 9-8 in 11. San Fran 6 back for a playoff spot. Dodgers swept the Marlins 10-3 was the final yesterday. They won the 3-game series 19-4. Remember how we mentioned Gosselin's 15-1 and that he could steal this Cy Young away from Alcantara? Yeah, Alcantara in 3 2/3 yesterday gave up 6 earned to the Dodgers. All right, we still got a quarter of a season left.
He may have lost the Cy Young yesterday just in that appearance, David.
I mean, remember, the Dodgers have the best record in baseball, and Gonsolin's 15-1. Oakland beat Seattle 5-3. Tigers shut out the Angels 4-0. Cincy 9-5 over Pittsburgh. A lot of golf news. Patrick Cantlay won the BMW Championship by 1 over Scott Stallings. Scheffler and Schauffele were both tied for third, 3 back. Scheffler enters the Tour Championship with a 2-shot lead. For those of you not familiar, season ending, the guy who's first, they start him at 10 under. The guy who's second in the points, they start him at 8 under. And then 7 and 6, and then they group guys. Yeah, anyway. Nobody likes it. I mean, nobody. I don't even think the players like it. President's Cup, they announced half the U.S. team yesterday. Scheffler, Schauffele, Cantlay, Finau, JT, and Sam Burns are your top 6 for the U.S. President's Cup team. And by the way, with the plans that Tiger and Rory have to save the PGA Tour, I don't see how the President's Cup continues, to be honest with you, but we can get into that at a later date. Tom Weiskopf died over the weekend. News came out yesterday. He apparently died Saturday. He was 79. Won the 73 British, remarkably his only major. Then again, he was competing against, the whole Jack Nicklaus guy. He finished second in the Masters 4 times. That's a record. He died of pancreatic cancer. Tom Watson was 79. A great...
Weiskopf.
Did I say Watson? Oh, my bad. Tom Weiskopf, excuse me. Tom Weiskopf.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that except for it's a death thing. I'd let that fly, but in the area of death, I feel like I have to jump in and correct.
I agree. I'm glad you did. Nelly Korda had a dramatic win over the weekend. She trailed her sister by 6 when the final round started and by 7 early in the final round. Remember, she had the blood clot, missed 4 months this year. She was the number 1 player in the world. She came back from 7 down, ended up winning by 4. Her sister had like an out-of-body experience, all right, with like 8 bogeys and a double in the final round. So she won her first tournament of the year over the weekend. That's why I mentioned it. College hoops. We've talked about this guy before, Keonta Johnson. He was one of the best players in the SEC. 2 years ago, in fact, he entered the year as the preseason pick for SEC Player of the Year. Played for the Gators. He collapsed in December of 2020 in a game against the Noles. Didn't play the rest of that year. Didn't play all of last year. Gators would not clear him to play. Apparently, every other team doctor in the country has cleared him to play. And so he had to decide if he was going to come back and play, because he still has college eligibility left, or whether he was going to cash out the $5 million insurance policy. Mark, he's coming back to play, and he's decided to play at Kansas State, who ironically will play Florida in the SEC Big 12 Challenge in late January. Mark, $5 million or come back and play ball with no guarantee. Now, he's a guy who they thought was going to have a pro career. Don't know if it's going to be NBA or Europe or what have you, but he is considered or was a guy with pro potential. But it's $5 million.
It's really easy here at nearly 53 to say take the money. At 21, 22, 23, still trying to live out your dreams. I give this kid all the credit in the world. I wish him all the luck in the world for giving this a shot.
We had this debate in like November.
Right, but now it's real, because now he is coming back and he is actually signed with a school. I mean, many Memphis, USC, many schools were after him. He goes to K-State. By the way, Sister Jean turned 103 yesterday. Speaking of college hoops. WNBA basketball news: Seattle and Vegas advanced to the second round. They won their best of 3s and sweeps. The other 2 series will have deciding game 3s. Udonis Haslem has decided to come back for a 20th season with the Heat, and he gave an impassioned speech yesterday about culture, and that's what it's all about. That culture saved his life, he said, and that's why he feels it is so important to impart that on as many men as possible. 2 bits of college football news, Mark. First off, UCF reportedly, according to 24/7 Sports, has decided on John Reese Plumlee, the Ole Miss transfer, to be their starting quarterback. He was a starter at Ole Miss until this Matt Corral kid came along these past 2 years. And it looks as if the SEC is going to go to a 9-game conference schedule when Oklahoma and Texas join the conference. And that expectation is either in 2024 or 2025. Most of us are betting on 2024, that when there's 1 year left on their Big 12 contract, that both sides will find a way to make a deal. And that, gentlemen,
That was the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Now, be honest with yourselves. Like Mark said, if you're our age, you got to go back 30 years. But now you're told you're healthy. You're 22 years of age. And you think you're a pro prospect because the last time you were healthy, you were a pro prospect.
Well, there's also NIL contracts, and I'm not saying that he's going to make $5 million in NIL deals, but
he's not going to make hardly anything because they leave Kansas State to get NIL deals somewhere else. Like the kid that came to Miami for an NIL deal.
Right.
So
he's going to K-State to play.
Right. And apparently the insurance contract, he can play like up to 10 games. And then once he plays like the 10th game, that's it. The $5 million policy's gone. So do you cash the $5 million and never play ball again? And who knows? Maybe the kid can play for 12 more years. Or do you go, hey, man, it's my life. I want to live it. It's about more than money.
Damn right. And it's I think it's really easy to sit here in your 50s and say, take the money. Well, it's a whole nother thing in 20s to tell someone, yeah, your dream's not a reality, whether you think so or not. Don't even try. I applaud the young man.
That's a tough one. As a parent, that's a tough one.
No, actually, it's an easy one.
It is?
It's a simple one. You let the young man play. To me, maybe it's not to you, but to me, it's a simple decision. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the two together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did anyone in the Twitch chat watch the UFC fight? Because, I mean, what Leon Edwards did to Kamaru Usman. Good Lord.
And David, it was Dana White that Gronk was talking to, not Rogan.
Oh, not Rogan?
Yeah,
My bad.
wrong bald guy. Pretty easy to confuse. I hope Keonta hoops and performs well enough to get drafted. That'd be sick. Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Maybe even better than that. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Whether you be in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice, or in the 239 and call Southwest Florida home. Coming up Friday, we'll be live in Fort Myers on Boy Scout Drive at the Napa Auto Parts because John, Lisa, Kyle, and Justin, the Napa family as we call them, they are bringing Chase Elliott in on a personal appearance. He'll arrive around 11, start signing autographs at 11:30. Listen, if you don't have the golden ticket, you need to go to one of the 6 Southwest Florida area Napa dealers that John, Lisa, Kyle, and Justin own and run and sign up like now. From Port Charlotte to Fort Myers Beach and half a dozen points in between. Sign up, get the golden ticket, get in line so you can get an autograph. We know some of you are just going to try to crash the joint. The odds
Those are my people. Those are my people. Those that don't plan.
Just letting you know, Mark, you and your peeps, the odds are far less than 50% that you're going to get an autograph. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Call any of my people my peeps. They're coming at you, Moulton.
I'm sorry. You and your people. It's me and my peeps.
It sure is.
There you have it. Do we have a poll question?
Well, we've got a couple of ideas because this Johnson story has a little bit of legs to it, and the Bucks falling apart has lack of legs to it, if you know what I mean.
Oh, hello. See what you did there. Legs and knees and a few other body parts.
Right. But you have me intrigued with this Keonta Johnson story. And I do find it fascinating. It is really easy. The old guys are all like, take the money. I think Felipe would be playing. I think Felipe would think his skills are too strong
Felipe,
not to play pro ball.
Felipe, I think you and Keonta Johnson are the same age. All right. You've just had a major health scare. You nearly died. But whatever it was, you apparently are healthy enough to play, according to most every doctor, except the Florida Gators team doctors. They would not clear you to play last season, and they would not clear you to play this season when you still had eligibility left. But everyone else has cleared you to play. You have an insurance policy. If you play more than 8 or 10 games, the $5 million insurance policy, which you could have already cashed in and you could cash in today, goes away. You have 1 year of college eligibility left, maybe a second. You can apply for a medical hardship based on what you've gone through. It's tough to trust the NCAA. They should give it to you, but then again, look who you're dealing with. So you're guaranteed 1 more year of college ball, at most 2. And you're not guaranteed a pro career because of what just happened. Felipe, what would you do?
I would play. Now, I'm curious to see the kind of role that Kansas State is going to offer him on the team. But
well, you have to assume it's a big role because he had other options like Memphis and USC.
Yeah, right.
And if
That's what I'm assuming.
He's a starter.
That's what I'm
to
assuming.
Me.
Because if it's a bench role,
right, he wouldn't have chosen it.
But he's not a bench player because he's a stud.
Exactly.
So if I know I'm a stud and I know that I'm healthy, I'm playing. Because one good season could lead to a G League spot, and a G League spot could lead to,
But let's be honest. Unless you're a first-round pick, and now while Keonta Johnson 2 years ago was a likely first-round pick, not a lottery pick, but a likely first-round pick, you're going to make the $5 million. But if you're not a first-round pick, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say because of the health scare, a year or 2 from now, he ain't a first-round pick, no matter how well he plays.
Could not agree with you more, David. There's not a doubt in my mind that teams would pass on him in the first round because of the guaranteed money. And it makes business. You got to look at this from a pure business standpoint. I don't think he gets drafted in the first round.
Well, not only that, first rounders are also younger. He's an old player in terms.
Correct. Yes. It's another reason why he is likely to go early second round. What Mark mentioned, no guaranteed contract. What you mentioned, age. So with that in mind, all right, right now, let's be honest. The odds are against Keonta Johnson making $5 million playing basketball. They are. He's not going to be a first-round pick. He's going to be older. He's going to be a second-round pick. All right, no guarantee that he makes a team. And even if he does, he's going to have an above-average career, put it that way, as a second-round pick to ever earn $5 million. If he doesn't make it in the association, it's tough to earn $5 million doing the Europe and the G League route. It'd take a long time, probably, to make that amount of money. So from a business standpoint, the odds are he ain't going to make $5 million playing ball.
I think you're right, David. I think we can keep track of it in that he'll never make $5 million playing ball.
What does that matter?
No, to me, it doesn't matter one iota. And if I were his dad, because I do have, I have a son Felipe's age. So
Right.
in Keontae's age, I'd look right at him and say, you got to go with your heart. If you want to play, you got to play.
Mark, I would agree with you under one big condition. I got to be sold by the doctors. That's the other thing that as a parent would be scaring the heck out of me. Are we sure he's okay to play? I mean, because I know we got 99 doctors out of 100 apparently that are clearing him to play, but we do have doctors that are not clearing him to play. Now, are they not?
They're just the Florida doctors.
Right. Now, are they doing it because it's total CYA?
That's what I looked.
Because apparently everybody else has cleared him. And I mean everybody. Apparently he's only got one no, and it's from Florida. But I'm with you, Mark. As a parent, I could support my son, all right, giving up the $5 million insurance money. Can't believe I'm saying that out loud. And, following his dream, because he has to live the rest of his life, and, don't want him sitting there, working 9 to 5 and always wondering, what if I had followed my dream?
Right. If he were 2 years removed from high school and were a starting quarterback, we would be on a podium saying that he accepted illegal benefits to try to make him ineligible. So he didn't play that third year, just worked out at IMG and got ready for the draft. We're consistent with that one too.
Yes. But if I can have, I don't know, best damn doctors I could find, look me in the eyes and go, your son is not going to drop dead on the basketball court. He had this condition. Thankfully, he survived it. We found it. We fixed it. He's okay. And I literally would look at the doctor and go, would you put your life on it? Would you let your son play with the condition that my son has? And if they could convince me, then I'd be okay. Not that, at his age, obviously he can disobey me, but I would sign off on it if I could get medical, not certainty, because you can't.
You never can get certainty, but right. I know what you're saying, and I would too. I think this is a unique situation, and I think the Florida doctors are pulling a complete CYA. That's why they're not letting the kid play at Florida. And you have to be rooting for him. This is one of those situations that we really hope it works well for Keonta Johnson at Kansas State, and that he gets a chance to play some more basketball.
But what would you do? What would you do? And I don't know if that's our poll question or it's just a question you could chime in our Twitch chat room, or you could text 21,000 into our text line of FSN Radio.
Can you guys explain to the people that don't know what a CYA is?
Cover your
Heidi.
And by explain, that was Felipe who needed that.
I was going to say
he didn't want to wait. He didn't want to wait for the break. He just wanted to embarrass himself right on the air, and I appreciate that.
Go head on.
But you know what? I always liked the kid in class who was, able to raise his or her hand and ask the question and had the rest of the class laughing at him. But they truly, they didn't know the answer to a reference or what have you. And let's face it, Mark, okay, half the kids that were mocking the kid who asked the question, they didn't know the answer either.
Right. I don't care.
Right.
I mean,
they just didn't have the guts to show their, insecurity publicly and go, hey, I'm sorry, Mrs. Lonigan, what does that mean exactly? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, you didn't know what it meant either, you loser. Right.
Mrs. Lonigan?
I don't know where that came from.
I
never had a Mrs. Lonigan
from the Sting. That's what I wondered. I remember Doyle Lonigan from the Sting. He was the criminal in the Sting. I had no idea where you came up with that from. Lonigan, huh?
I never had a Mrs. Lonigan either. Never had a Mr. Lonigan either. I do have a friend now, okay, whose last name is Lonergan. All right, but don't know where that came from.
I know that Mr. Lonigan once had Mrs. Lonigan, but that's all we know at this point. Or maybe she had him. Who knows?
So listen, we're going to talk Tampa Bay Bucks at the top of the hour with Roy Cummings and, Brady coming back any minute and the fact that they don't have enough guys to block for him or anyone else. And we could get into how bad Kyle Trask looked, by the way, if you think August football means anything.
Speaking of
But
Florida,
but between now and then, we're just the Keonta Johnson story we find fascinating. What would you do? You're 22 years old. You nearly died 20 months ago on the court from a medical condition, and you've been healed by most everybody. You have a $5 million insurance policy. If you come back and play, the insurance policy goes away. But you're 22. You have 1, maybe 2 years of college eligibility left. What do you do?
And you have an opportunity to perhaps play beyond college. You had a
Right.
great opportunity before this happened. You still have an opportunity. You're still an elite basketball player that has the opportunity to play professionally.
one NBA contract gets rid of all that insurance money. Just one.
Might be 2 if you're
Oh,
a
yeah.
second round pick, because you wouldn't get $5 million as a second round pick, and it wouldn't be fully guaranteed.
Miller and Moulton, what would you do? Text the show or join us, Miller and Moulton, on twitch.tv.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I have no idea how to even word a question with the Keonta Johnson thing. That's my problem.
After collapsing on the court. Yeah, no, that's already wordy.
That's the thing. There's no way to do this.
Yeah, because you have to explain.
You got to explain it.
Exactly. You have
Nobody knows who he is without explaining it.
You have to
Well,
give some backstory.
Take him. How about we take him out of it? First off, Mark, I sent you a question. How about we take him out of it and we try to shorten it as best we can?
Yeah,
Right.
You're right on the second one. Do you have one?
I was wondering if we do the Ravens.
Sure.
And word it something along the lines of
$5 million insurance policy, or live out your dreams.
yes. If you're a college athlete who had a serious medical condition but you've now been cleared to play, what would you do? A, cash in $5 million insurance policy. B, follow your dream and play. Does that work?
You are a college athlete who had a serious medical condition but has been cleared to play.
What would you do? A, cash in 5M insurance policy. B, follow your dreams and play.
By the way, a season before he collapsed, his numbers were draft pick.
Yeah. No. He was the year he collapsed, December of 2020. He was the preseason pick to be the SEC Player of the Year, and he was averaging 16 points a game when he collapsed.
Yeah, 4 games into the season, he's yes.
Right.
But the
And
season
the year before, right?
He played the whole season. He averaged 14 points a game on 54% shooting from the field.
Correct. No, he's a terrific.
Yeah.
I think he was a wing.
7 boards a game.
Do you need to put anything in there about if you are a college athlete that is a pro prospect?
Yeah, I like that.
He was a pro prospect, yeah.
You're a college athlete that is a pro prospect who had a serious medical condition but has been cleared to play. What would you do? Cash in $5 million insurance, follow your dream and play. I actually think I can put follow your dreams. I think I've got one character. Follow your dream. No, follow your dream and play. That's all I got. I can't even dreams.
How about follow dreams and play?
There you go.
Follow dreams and play.
Adam, we don't think his NIL income is all that great because he's he's at K-State, and we don't think that they have a great NIL program set up. By the way, Dooley's back at Kansas.
Is he?
Yeah, he's recruiting coordinator. So he and Tanya are happy. Their son's off at West Point, and they can go back to Lawrence. They loved it there.
I just want to say, I'm not kidding. I've never heard someone say CYA. Like, I've heard someone say the actual words, but the actual
I'm sorry.
shortcut.
Well, it must be a generational thing, I guess. Or
No,
people
I
you
Did
just-
hang
you have
with.
to watch that video that I sent you just for the one line was worth it?
We're coming.
When I sent you the text, I realized that I haven't watched it yet.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 4 days away from Chase Elliott, appearing at the Napa Auto Parts on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers. We will be there broadcasting live this Friday. Hoping to have Chase Elliott on the show. These guys are busy. You know, we're trying to get them kind of like it might be a scene. Remember at a Good Morning Vietnam when Robin Williams was pretending to do the traffic report from the copter? That's what it might be with Chase Elliott when he's like coptering over from Daytona. You know, we don't know how this is going to sound if we get him, but we're working on it. So Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network.
Losing faith. I'm losing.
Yes.
Faith. We didn't get him last week. I don't have a lot of faith that we're going to get him this week. That's kind of where I'm at with that one.
The only thing that I'm hoping is that he has really nothing to race for. I mean, you know, he could chalk up another notch on his belt, but he's already entering the playoffs as the number 1 overall seed, so to speak. He's going to have the best point total going into the playoffs. He can't improve his playoff positioning by winning this week. He can just get a win and earn some more money, but it's not going to help his cause for the playoffs.
No, you're right. You're right. And well, maybe I don't know what that means for us. But you are right. There's not much there. So hopefully we can sneak in an interview and he can give us 10, 15 minutes of his time this week. How much of any of the golf did you watch yesterday?
Oh, none.
Oh, all right.
None.
The week before, I know you watched a decent amount because there was a playoff and I know you're with your mom, so I know you had things going on. But they've had 2 good weeks of it coming right to the end. And while this whole Live Golf and PGA Tour fight continues, the PGA Tour playoffs have been really good.
Well, it's not only that it's come down to the end, they've had some names involved at the end, which, like when Tony Finau went on his winning streak there, he was competing against virtually nobody. I mean, Finau had a name, but I mean, there was nobody else who had a name that was really competing against him. Now they've had leaderboards in which you've looked at them and you went, oh, that interests me.
And it sets them up for this weekend for their Tour Championship, even though I cannot stand this format. All of the names that are at the top of the leaderboard are pretty good names.
By the way, I do have a question. So this is 30 players.
Right.
It's a huge cash grab. And there's no cut. Right?
Right. Just like there was for the tournament they just had.
Where there were
70 players in it.
With
no cut
and a huge cash grab.
Correct.
Right. So what's the problem with the LIV again?
I was thinking the same thing watching the tournament the all weekend.
Huh.
Do they get points for this?
They do. They get full credit. Now, they do play 72 holes, and the other guys only play 54. So I think it would be fair to only give them 3/4 the points that the PGA Tour guys get, right?
It seems to make simple sense.
I mean, come on, let's be honest. You could be a PGA Tour guy and hate every single aspect of the LIV. And, we could totally support you with that, by the way. But if you were to take a step back and you really don't have a dog in this fight, I mean, supposedly the new format that Tiger and Rory have thought up, they're going to take 18 of the tour events. They're going to make them huge cash grabs, and they're going to make them 60-player individuals. I mean, invitationals. 60. So let's see. A huge cash grab with 48 players versus a huge cash grab with 60. Neither of them have a cut. Okay, one plays 4 days, the other only plays 3. The one would be phenomenal. Oh, my goodness. Can't say enough good things. Tiger and Rory are saving the world as we know it. And the other players, all right, are in a room with Vladimir Putin. That's how bad they are. I mean, I just want to make sure that the mainstream golf media can present this properly, because that's how you need to present it going forward. All right, saving the world and children and animals on one side, all right, in a room with Vladimir Putin on the other. Just make sure you represent it properly. By the way, 18 cash events for those saving the world, 14 for those ruining the world. Just make sure you get it right. So they're going to save the tour by LIV-ing it, correct?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, just want to make sure.
They're going to, and what we are seeing through all of this is that the PGA Tour top members don't give a damn about the rank and file. They care about making more money for themselves. Almost as if, David, they're jealous of what the Live Tour is doing and how rich they're making the players who have jumped from the PGA Tour to the Live Tour, because all the PGA Tour has tried to do since then has have more Live style events.
Reportedly, by the way, 7 players currently on the PGA Tour are joining the LIV Tour a week from today. We know about Mark Leishman and we know about Cam Smith. We don't know who the other, and there's word that one of the other 5 is Hideki Matsuyama. Otherwise, we really don't know the other 4, and we're not really sure about number 5. Miller and Moulton. Mark, it's time for our Clutch Vodka play of the day.
And we're not going to dig too deep today because there's Clutch with the K.
Right.
And then there's just plain old Clutch. And the Baltimore Ravens in August are as clutch gets.
They're a dynasty. If you can have an August dynasty in the NFL, they have surpassed Lombardi's Packers, who won 19 consecutive preseason games some 60-plus years ago. They are the new standard for August football, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. The Baltimore Ravens, now 22 consecutive preseason victories after winning by 7 while they were favored by 5 on the road for a preseason game. Win and cover did the Ravens.
A preseason dynasty. Is that something to be proud of?
Is
No.
that something? No. Actually, a really good question is that even something?
That should
Like-
be a poll question. Is a
Adam-
preseason dynasty something? Yes or no?
Adam Schefter asked this morning on Twitter something to the effect of 22 in a row. Is this remarkable or meaningless? and it is really one or the other. I actually think it's remarkable. It means nothing, but I think it's more remarkable than it's meaningless.
It's meaningless.
Okay, here's why I think it's not meaningless while being largely meaningless is because I actually paid attention. I didn't watch, but I followed it every half hour on my phone as to the score of the Ravens-Cardinals preseason game because I was just curious whether they were continuing the streak.
So you're just trying to justify this for your own self.
Well, I figured I can't be alone on that. I mean, never mind all the people that laid the 5. I mean, come on now. Which,
If
by
you
the way,
laid the 5 last night, we need to know. You need to text the show, FSN Radio to 21,000 if you've never done so before.
and by the way, 5 points in a preseason game is a monster line.
Darn
That's like
right.
That's like Alabama against Mississippi State. That's how big a preseason line that is.
That's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Clutch Vodka. It is smooth as smooth gets, and it's clutch with a K.
I see what you did there. By the way, a gentleman in our Twitch chat room said, guys, I got it at 4.5.
Congratulations and good job by you. Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the two together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts.
FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, Mark, in our Twitch chat room, Mark, it is funny how much money that Greg Norman and Phil Mickelson are actually going to end up making a whole bunch of golfers on the PGA Tour, because the tour never would have changed its business model if not for this. Yeah, DC, Arnie and Jack basically ended up starting the PGA Tour as we know it by breaking away from how golf was constructed. It will be interesting to me. Will any of the golf media, who are 99.9% NFing everyone associated with the LIV Tour, now that the PGA Tour is going to become half an LIV Tour, will any of them criticize the PGA Tour or point out what we pointed out last segment, that, wow, it sure has a lot of similarities to this other tour? I just know, DC, it was, well, first off, wasn't it like the PGA of America that was essentially running the PGA Tour? But I know it was late 60s. I think it was 69 that Jack and Arnie decided, yeah, this ain't working. Well, Mark, Miller and Moulton have agreed for a long time that we've never understood why the golfer doesn't at least get their expenses covered to some degree. They have to travel there, put themselves up, pay an entry fee, pay for their caddy's travel, pay for their caddy. They contribute 2 rounds of play to the tournament, who sells tickets. And if they don't make the cut, they don't get a dime.
By the way, I think Patrick Cantley was the first player to win the BMW back-to-back.
He was. First one to win a playoff back-to-back, actually.
A playoff, yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, it could be 90 guys who don't get paid. 90 on a given week, because they've reduced. What's it down to, Mark? 65 in ties?
Yeah.
It used to be 70, 75. Now it's down to, I think, 65. So you can
Well,
literally have
only
90 guys.
About 120 played.
That's true. In the FedEx, that's true. But a tour event, I think it's 144, and a major, it's 156. So you could have damn near 80 guys in a regular tour event miss the cut. More guys miss the cut than make it. And those guys get nothing? It wasn't a major Canada relief, but yeah. But it's the same reason that Matsuyama and Smith didn't play this past week too. They're all saving themselves for the Tour Championship, because if you win it, you win $18 million. So the BMW doesn't mean anything compared to next week.
New Jersey, Tim.
I'm in Jersey, Tim. Do I need to close the curtains behind me? Or are we okay? with the sun coming up.
We're straight.
It's fine.
Ten seconds.
You talking golfer, Bray? I have no idea. The average player?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Roy Cummings will talk Tampa Bay Bucks at the top of the hour. Brady returning any moment now. But what are they down? 2 offensive linemen since he left? And they were down offensive linemen when he was last there. So troubles on the interior of the offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll talk to Roy Cummings about it coming up in a little more than 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, we thought that Brady was just taking some personal time. I think he was on a recruiting trip.
Yes, and we think he should extend it for another week because there is absolutely no reason for him to play behind the current offensive line. None. Zip, zilch, nada. Wait until they get the reinforcements in. Our poll question today, it's about specifically Keonta Johnson, but it can apply to any athlete. If you're a college athlete that is a pro prospect who had a serious medical condition, but you've now been cleared to play, what would you do? You have a $5 million insurance policy. Do you cash it in? Or, hey, wait, I'm cleared to play? Well, I'm going to play. So cash in the insurance policy or follow your dreams and play. That's our poll question. Keonta Johnson, the inspiration for it, the former Florida Gator standout who collapsed 20 months ago on a college basketball court and has been medically cleared to play, not by the Gators, so he had to transfer after getting his degree, and he's going to K-State. And ironically, will play the Gators on January 28th in the SEC Big 12, matchup there. So what do? Mark says you play.
This would be easy for me. It would be easy for me as the player. It would be easy for me as the parent, believe it or not. If he's been cleared medically to play, I'd let my son play. I'd let my son follow his dreams. This is not something that I would hold someone back from. I think David's point that he made earlier is you'd want the best doctors, and I think he's had unbelievable opinions on this, 99% of which have said play. The only opinions that have told him not to play have come from the Florida Gators doctors, and I think it's a little CYA by the Gators. That's cover your Heine there. For those that don't know what CYA means. And
Thank you.
That's just Felipe, our producer.
Thank you.
Right now.
Yep.
If you learned what CYA was today, please text the show because we'd like to hook you and Philly up. You guys can grab a lunch somewhere together and spend your whole life texting one another without.
Maybe you're 22, maybe. Yeah.
And in future episodes of Miller and Moulton, we'll explain what DOB means, what WTF means. Okay, yes, we'll have a 3-letter, I don't know what it is they call it, but we'll have one of those a day, and we'll explain it to Felipe going forward here.
I've never heard someone say CYA. Never.
Well, obviously, you've made that point. And for the record, WTF means why the face. Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. That's what FSN stands for, Felipe, by the way. FSN means Florida Sports Network. We could have some fun with this. We may get this sponsored. In fact, Clutch. We're going to put Clutch Vodka on this one as well. We'll give them a bonus one. They had to pay for play of the day. We'll give them the bonus acronym every day.
As Tim says, he thought WTF was welcome to Florida.
And you know what? Tim, it might be. It just might be. So I would need I would need more than one doctor. If I could get 2 doctors to say that they would let their kid play if their kid had the same medical condition as my son, in Keonta Johnson's case, then I would be okay with it. Otherwise, my son's got his college degree, and knock on wood, he's got his health, and he can have $5 million. Oof. Oof. But then again, we all know we've all have dreams. Now, I'm lucky enough that, I mean, I've had a fairly mediocre career, but it at least is the career and what it is that I wanted to do. Okay. So I am not somebody who at night feels as if, now I wanted to do it at a higher level. I mean, still, if you ask, play-by-play of the Mets or the Rangers would probably be the ultimate. But I am very happy every morning when I wake up. I am doing what it is that I want. I am not an individual who had dreams to do something and for whatever reason was unable to do it. And now I have settled and I am working and doing X.
I wanted to play in the NBA, but I'm still waiting for that growth spurt. So this was a good fallback for me.
I feel you, man. I feel you, man.
Well, Mark, at least you gave your dream up. We don't know if Felipe will ever give that dream up. Okay?
That's very true. And the difference is I knew at a very young age that the dream was unobtainable. Whereas Felipe, I still believe, thinks that he is Keonta Johnson, and given the right opportunity in the rotation, could still contribute significant minutes to whatever team or CYA would let him play on it.
Don't you envision Felipe's about 48 years old and he's married and he's got at least one child, all right? And Felipe starts talking about himself and he could have been a player. And finally, the teenage boy or girl turns and goes, "Dad, give it up already." Don't you envision that that's going to be Felipe?
Yes, and it's going to happen. It's a little differently than what you're describing, David, but you are on the right. You're on the right track. But what's going to happen is married Felipe on a Saturday morning is going to come home at around 10:30 with his ankle swollen because he was playing a pickup game at the gym.
Of course he was.
A half-court game in which he went to make a crossover move at 42 years old, buckled, and the ankle's completely shot. And that's when he walks in and his son, who's 16 or 17, and says, "Dad, give it up."
I just want to be able to dunk. That's it. If I could dunk, I would ask for nothing else.
Keep lowering the rim, Felipe. Keep lowering.
Exactly. I was going to play Nerf ball, Felipe. All right, and all your dreams will come true.
I had a mini hoop in my pantry.
Felipe, yes or no? Would this poll question be out of line? Does Felipe tear his Achilles in his lifetime? Yes or no? Okay, because my money's on yes. Because Felipe is going to keep playing. He's going to be in his 30s, and he's going to think he's Kobe from the left, elbow, and all of a sudden he's going to go down. And he's going to blame that on why it is he didn't go pro. And everybody's going to look at him and go, "Dude, you're 36.
David, you can't reveal my hotspot on the radio. Come on now.
Felipe.
Yeah, there's a weekend warrior injury in your life.
Totally.
Felipe. There's not a doubt in my mind because you're not going to give this up anytime soon.
No.
Where's the left? I dare you.
No, just Felipe. Here's the deal. Don't keep playing unless you get a job with benefits. Then keep playing. All right, whatever you do. Just a little advice from an old guy. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Roy Cummings will join us in about 15 minutes' time. But the Keonta Johnson situation is fascinating. I will say, most everyone listening, obviously, is not 22. And they're not 32 either. Our average age listener is somewhere in the 40s to low 50s. And so when you're older, obviously $5 million means, I think, a lot more to you. Because life is expensive and life isn't easy. And so you're like, oh, well, for goodness sakes, I'd stop playing and I'd buy a nice house and I'd put money in the bank. I'd have my kids' college paid for, blah, 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 blah. But when you're 22,
you're going to make that money.
And then some, right?
I mean, that's a can of corn right there. With $5 million.
God, I'm going to make that before I'm 30. What are you kidding?
Exactly.
I'm a BFD. By the way, we'll explain that also, Felipe, coming up a little bit later on.
This is going to get out of hand. This is going to get out of hand. Every acronym that Moulton can think of, he's going to pop out between now and 10 o'clock this morning.
No doubt. Brought to you by Clutch Vodka. It's the Clutch Vodka acronym of the day. Right. But I will say, Mark, you've talked me into I'll live out the dream. All right. I'll let my son, in this instance, live out the dream. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to hold my 121-pound wife down to the ground, though. All right. This one could be very difficult.
Wow. And I think given the fact that, my wife was just watching all these gymnasts have all these same kinds of injuries for a lot less money over the course of the last 4 days, I don't think it would be that tough in my household. And you're right. I think it would be a lot tougher in yours.
A lot tougher. She would be like, absolutely not. We are cashing that thing in. And how ironic the sports guy, okay, would be the one arguing, going, no, honey. No. Got to let them live out their dream. You don't want them to be our age, wondering, what if? That can torment you.
It definitely can. So go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on Twitter to vote on today's poll question.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Oh, no, so we're going to do something along the lines of the Bucs and their offensive line, and whether or not they're going to win the division, we've still got plenty of time for that. But the Bucs, well, they're running out of time to get a healthy offensive line.
This one answer from Adam, our famous Jags fan in the Twitch chat room, I think sums up the difference between being a middle-aged adult, all right, and being 22 years of age. Adam, I'd buy $2 million in Exxon stock and live off $6,000 a month in dividend. Now, see, that's the adult answer. That's you've lived a little bit, you figured out how the whole world works. Money's a key part of it. You don't have any. All right. You're 22. You just got your college degree. You're working on your graduate. All right. You're going to get a school to pay for it, and you get to go play ball, which is your dream. And before you got sick there, you were a pro prospect. You were a likely first-round pick.
Also, I think it's almost guaranteed that this guy will probably play overseas if the NBA is not a thing.
Don't know.
There's no guarantees because you don't know about his health.
Right.
You don't know.
It's a big year. This is a big year coming up.
You can have no guarantees beyond this year. There's no way to me to sit there and say for sure he's going to do this. Felipe, you're more than likely right, given his talents and where he was. But he's taken two. Look, it's a very different circumstance. But we're sitting here talking about Desean Watson going, it's been 2 years. What's he going to look like game 13 when he comes back? He's going to be a little rusty. Well, this guy's, obviously there's going to be rust. Totally different circumstances. I get it. But he's missed 2 years.
I don't know if he gets a guaranteed contract the rest of his life, including the NBA, because of what happened to him in college. My guess is he will be asked to sign a medical waiver for the rest of his life, in which if he even signs overseas, that he will have to sign a form that basically says, hey, man, if what happened to you happens again, we don't owe you a dime. And I'm guessing it'll be that way in the G League. And I wonder, Mark, if by chance he's good enough to play in the association. My guess is they're going to want him to sign, because think about the leverage they'll have over him, Felipe. I mean, they'll be looking at him going, yeah, we're medically clearing you to play, but there's medically clearing you to play, and then there's money on the cap. So
I don't know how NBA contracts work. I would think in the NBA he would get his money, but I do think there's something to be said for the other leagues you're talking about.
But I wonder if he'd get his money, because when you sign the contract, every contract's damn near fully guaranteed. But if in theory, 13 days into it, he has another medical condition, my guess is the teams are going to not want to have to pay from day 14 on.
I'm sure there's ways to avoid it. But again, I'm not going to sit there and try to decipher what an NBA contract looks like. But I would think the NBA money would be guaranteed. But I do think there's some there for what you're saying for G League contracts, certainly overseas contracts and things of that nature. But it is a fascinating story. And as we bring up all the negatives, it's a guy that I'm going to be rooting for hard this year.
Oh.
I may do something I've never done before, David. That's seek out Kansas State basketball.
Oh man, the 9:30 ESPN2 game with Fran Fraschilla. He's tremendous, by the way. You'll love it.
Where is that? The SEC Big 12 Challenge.
It's the same as the ACC Big 10 Challenge, which I guess will only have one more year left, right?
Yes. Where do does it just go on the home network?
Well, in theory, if the game's played at an ACC venue, ESPN has the rights to it. So would Fox be willing to continue it where they get the games that are at the Big 10 arenas, but ESPN gets the games at the ACC arenas?
I think they'd be willing to continue it. I really do. Miller and Moulton, we will see on that one. We thank you so much for listening. Halfway home on a Monday on the Florida Sports Network.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the two together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, well, thank you for the nice background. Jersey's actually a fairly nice state. You just never get to see it on TV. Gator Dad, here's why we believe it's not the same spot as Chris Bosch. Bosch couldn't get anybody to medically clear him. It would have been the same spot if he could have gotten somebody to medically clear him.
Well, the boss situation was weird because he in the middle of the 2015 season, he stopped playing because of the health issue, and then he came back for the 2016 season, and then same time of the year, midway through the season, stopped again. But he was also a veteran and in his early mid 30s. So, yeah, you're comparing a young guy in his 20s compared to that.
Right, who had already cashed in, 9 figures.
Right.
Now, Jeff, I think contractually, beginning in 2024, I think they could start throwing in the USC, UCLA, and they could go back to the old ESPN triple header. Remember the 7 and 9, and then Sports Center, and then the midnight game?
It would be a Big Ten triple header. Fox isn't paying all that money to the Big Ten to put the Big East game on at any portion of that.
Although, Mark, think about it. They start Big East games when? Your favorite time?
6:30.
So they could go Big East 6:30, Big Ten 8:30, and 10:30 with USC or UCLA. It'd be perfect.
They got to hire Walton.
Totally.
Who, Fox?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Walton's been with ESPN for like
I understand,
a minute now,
but he's
right?
been there for Pac-12 and UCLA games.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you just tell him you're only doing USC and UCLA games at home. That's all you're doing.
There was a time.
And if you want to, like if they do add another couple of teams out there, it'll be up to you. If you want to do them, we'll
And if
travel
you want to come to Indiana to do a game, UCLA, Indiana, we want you. You want to come to East Lansing for an Izzo UCLA game, we want you. You make your schedule.
Exactly. We'll give you the A treatment. You're Vital. You get to pick up the phone and determine what games you do. Although it's not that way anymore, but it was for a long time.
Just refer to the Big Ten as the Conference of Champions. That's all we ask of you.
There was a time where Bill Walton was in the booth, and I guess for some reason he had a cupcake with a lit candle on, and he stuck the cupcake with the lit candle on in his mouth. And I just don't know why he did that, but he just did. He's an interesting character.
Apparently, they're doing a 30 for 30 on him.
They should.
That is going to be good.
It should be awesome.
You could damn near do a couple part thing on him. I mean, you.
Calling Roy now. We're back soon.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's top of the hour of hour 3 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday, 4 days away from Chase Elliott, appearing in Fort Myers at the Napa Auto Parts on Boy Scout Drive. We'll be doing our show live Friday morning from that local Napa Auto Parts. We are 5 days away from week 0 of the college football season, 10 days away from week 1, and 17 days away from the Bills and the Rams kicking off the NFL season. We are 20 days away from the Bucs kicking off their season in Dallas against the Cowboys. That's if they can make it to Dallas with enough healthy players in order to play that game. Roy Cummings joins us because of the Bucs injury mess. You know Roy, pewterpirates.com, pewterpirates.com. You can follow him on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn. Roy, here's our thought. Tom Brady should not come back this week. He shouldn't come back until they have enough quality offensive linemen in which he determines it's safe for me to play.
Hey, he may have already left because he doesn't like the quality of the offensive line as it is. That may be part of why he took this 2-week sabbatical. Maybe he looked up front and said, where's my center's gone now. My all-pro left guard is gone. I was never all that happy with my left tackle as it is. The right guard situation, boy, I play behind Shaq Mason, and I'm not sure how much he's got left. I'm not going to make it here. Maybe Giselle saw that line and said, no way. He's not going to be happy with what he sees when he gets back. It's obviously in worse shape than it was. We don't know what Tristan Wirf's future is, at least near future is. I think that, something like that, you know what, you might be able to play through it at the NFL level, but I mean, obviously we've seen hockey players and baseball players get sidelined for months with those oblique injuries, and now you lose Aaron Stinney as well. It's really rough. I mean, I think they feel pretty good in the building about their depth, but let's face it, they weren't expecting to be tested this much this early, and I think Tom Brady's got some concerns coming back.
Well, I think we've all got concerns right now, Roy. When you look at it, just from a win standpoint, what do you think from the beginning of camp? What were your expectations to now? Is this 2 wins that came off the board with what's happened to their line?
Yeah, that sounds about right. 2 to 3 wins, I would say. Look, I think you lose 1 or 2 just by losing. To me, losing Ryan Jensen and the left guard. I think once you've lost Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen, you're already looking at a couple. I don't know that what they've lost since makes that much of a difference. But overall, yeah, I think you're looking at 2 to 3 victories here. But you know what? I'll say this: Tom Brady has played behind some shaky offensive lines before. He does get rid of the ball quickly. What you've got to do, you got to adjust. You've got to, I've been saying this team needs to run the ball a little bit more anyway, so I think that might be part of it. You can't take these 5 and 7 step drops. I think you got to drop, 2-3 steps and fire, and don't give the line a chance to break down in front of you. If you get rid of the ball quickly and adjust your offensive scheme, there's ways to get around this. One thing you can't do with Tom Brady is roll him out. You're not going to see much of that. Now, maybe they incorporate a little bit, some short rollouts, but I think you're looking at a lot more, bubble screens, things like that. But there's ways to adjust, and we're going to see how good this offensive unit is at adjusting to that.
All right. I'm trying not to panic, Roy, but this would be my plan A right now that you would have to talk me out of if I was the GM. I'm willing to put my day 2 draft picks next year on the table. I don't think I can get to an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl with what I'm going to have left along the offensive line. And quite frankly, I need to go all in for my last realistic chance to get to a Super Bowl for maybe the rest of the decade, if we're being brutally honest. So I'm willing to put my 2nd and 3rd round draft picks on the table. I'll tell all 31 teams that you call me with the offensive lineman that you're willing to give me for a day 2 draft pick. And I'll take all this week to entertain and see who is readily available. And I need to bring in 2 starters, Roy. And I think I can do it offering up a 2nd and 3rd round pick. Now, I may have to restructure some contracts to fit some salary. But, Roy, that's what I'm willing to do. Is that a panic move?
No, I don't think it's a panic move. In fact, I think it makes a lot of sense to try that. But the second part of that equation you already touched on is, can you afford it? If you're bringing in starting caliber guards and centers, you're probably talking about a total cap, because I don't think anybody's going to give up anybody who's got, like on a rookie contract or a favorable team contract. You're probably looking to bring in $4 to $8 million, and you have $4 to $8 million, of wiggle room underneath the cap. My guess is you don't, and so you might be able to get away with one of those, but one might be enough. We'll see. It's just, you build a team and you try to prepare on paper at least, and in your mind, what's going to happen if. And unfortunately, they're already at if. And again, I think they feel good about what they've brought in here, but it's really shaky. So yeah, I don't think it's a panic move at all, because you're right. I mean, they're all in for the Super Bowl. That's it. This year, they'll worry about 2023 and probably in 2024. So I think you're right. I think it's something to look at. And I know they're certainly looking at the waiver wire. That's the easiest way to do it. But still, at the same time, and you'll be surprised. There will be some players off the waiver wire that will be attractive. But the real concern is, can you fit them under the cap? Do you have to cut somebody else that you promised a big load of money to? And you might have to do that. You might have to, let go of a veteran wide receiver like Julio Jones and count on Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller. You might have to do something like that in order to make this work. We'll see. But, again, waiver wire is the first, and teams are just now starting to cut guys. And one thing I know about Jason Light, does a really good job. Him and his team inside the building do a really good job of projecting which teams will cut who. They know that stuff usually weeks out. So there's probably a guy or two that they're sitting there just waiting for him to be let go. It's a matter of timing and putting in your waiver claim. The problem is the Bucs, are high up on that waiver claim. A lot of teams before them who will get a shot at him first. So they're in a bit of a bind.
They're high up on the waiver wire. They don't have a lot of cap room. It does spell that trade seems to be the easiest. But Roy, when you're looking at offensive line depth, this is not, I know there's going to be players out there, but it's not like teams are out there. It's not like there are a lot of extra starting offensive linemen out in the league right now. Most teams are carrying 8, maybe 9 guys. You're going to have to find the needle in the haystack here if the Bucs are going to find someone, particularly someone that can start for them.
Right, I agree. But you know what? Again, I'll say this. I think Jason Light and his scouting staff, his whole staff, I think they do an excellent job of finding those needles in the haystack. Ali Marpet was a needle in the haystack, no doubt about it. They found him before, and I think they'll find him again. I think they have a keen eye for offensive line talent. Let's not forget, nobody knew who Aaron Stinney was. And then he went and, this is a guy who played a role for them during their Super Bowl season. And, so it's worked out before. They'll find guys, you may not know the name. It may seem unfamiliar. It might come from some college that you've never heard of, but I trust this. If Jason Light brings them in, my guess is they probably feel pretty good about him, and he's probably pretty effective. So let's see what they do. But you're right. They've got to get creative here. No doubt about that.
Any chance you think of Tom being able to talk Ali Marpet out of retirement?
I think the team's trying to talk Tom Brady out of retirement. I don't think Tom's interested in trying to talk anybody else out of it. I think Tom's. I think he's ready to call it quits. I think maybe he was ready to call it quits, and the team said, "Hey, take a couple of weeks. Get your mind fresh, come back, and let's take it from there." That's just my speculation. That's just my guess. Tom may come back and have a press conference and say, this is what I was dealing with. This is what I was taking care of. Put it all out on the table. But my gut tells me that a guy who retired once, had designs on going somewhere else, some other city with his family, kind of starting a new life, has already signed a contract to go to Fox. I think he's probably, his best buddy is Rob Gronkowski's not here. That takes a little bit of the fun away. He doesn't have Antonio Brown, who he wanted. I think he's probably said, you know what, I'm good. And it's been a great year, great career. Won a Super Bowl in 2 places. How many people can say that? I'm going to go out while I'm still walking, and I think he's ready to walk away. And I think the team just gave him time to try to maybe re-energize the batteries. Again, first, that's just my personal guess, and I have nothing to base it on other than my gut. But I don't think he's talking to anybody out of retirement. They're talking him out.
So you don't think this was any family issues? You don't think it was anything more than Tom Brady doesn't want to play football anymore, and that's why he's been away for 2 weeks?
Yeah. No, Tom Brady, his career has been, the foundation of his career is his love of the game, number one, and number two, his dedication to the work that has to be put in. Don't forget, guys, and I said this last week, this was the guy during a pandemic, a COVID pandemic, who went out there at Berkeley Prep High School here in Tampa, private high school, found the high school, number one, and then rallied all the guys and said, we're going to go out and practice against all the best judgment of every doctor and coach and and administrator and executive in the organization said, don't do this. And he went out there, I'm going to do it anyway. This is who I am. This is what we do. I go out there and I play. And in the off season, I get ready. And now he misses 2 weeks of training camp. Don't give me all this garbage about he wasn't going to play anyway. And Ryan Jensen isn't there. So what's the difference? Oh, there's a big difference. Take 2 weeks away from training camp? No way. No way. He's done. He's over the game. He's had it. He's ready to move on. Somebody's trying to talk him into staying around.
Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com, pewterpirates.com. Follow him on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn. Off the top rope this morning, Roy. We like it.
I'll be willing to admit it if I'm wrong, and part of me hopes I am, because I hope he's still got I still hope that fire's burning, but something tells me the fire's out, and he's just putting in the time now, and he's committed to something and says, you know what, I'll play out the contract.
Thanks, Roy. All the best this week. It's going to be a lively one with the Bucs. Yeah. Roy Cummings, who covers Tampa for pewterpirates.com, pewterpirates.com.
Wow. Wasn't expecting that out of Roy this morning.
Yeah.
Roy's not a hot take guy. We've had him on for 15 years. That's not the way he does business. Roy Cummings with a hot take. Miller and Moulton, we'll discuss on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, it'll be the Saints. No, Johnny Mac, I'm in Jersey, though.
Mello, next game's on Thursday.
As for somebody who asked earlier what it's like up here with the Yankees coverage, oh, people are losing their minds. All over Cashman for the reinforcements he didn't get. Pitching wasn't good enough. They were just playing over their head. Their offense is Aaron Judge and nothing else. Just for the story, Mets and Yankees are going to play the next 2 nights. The Mets could and likely will send Scherzer and DeGrom to the Hill. If by chance the Mets were to do that and win, they would sweep the Yankees this year, which I'm pretty sure they've never done in the whole interleague thing. Yankees have done it to the Mets. Pretty sure the Mets have never done it to the Yankees.
You know, Hops, the best BLT I've ever had was in the heart of downtown Boston. And it was at a restaurant that I forget the name of, but it was like in that area.
Well, it's a lot off of a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. I mean, to say you had this amazing sandwich, where it's a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
Or not a bacon, lettuce, tomato.
It's a bacon, lettuce, and tomato. That's what a BLT is. Every single time. It's never changed. What did you think a BLT was?
If you add turkey on that, it's a club, right? Turkey.
Yes. Yes. If you add something else to it, it becomes a club.
What about we switch that T to turkey?
But we don't. BLT stands for what it stands for.
My BLT.
You want to make it a BLTT.
You're really having trouble with acronyms. That's how you text and spend your whole life.
Cubans don't do acronyms.
Now it's
not claiming the Spanish of which you don't speak.
Oh my gosh. It's not that I don't speak Spanish. It's that
Did you just finish college?
It's that the people
Did
that
you
are
just finish college?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't do acronyms when you text, huh?
No.
You type everything out.
No, I really don't do You know what I do? I'm annoying. I call. When I want to, I send voice notes. I'm lazy. I'm like, I don't want to text.
I would never listen to one from you. Don't ever do that with me because I don't listen to those. I just delete them.
No, I send quick ones, not long ones.
It doesn't matter. Same thing with someone who sends me a joke that I got to watch a video. Not interested. If I can read it, I'm in.
Gotcha.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
.21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So how many of you think like Roy Cummings? That when Tom walked away on August 11th, that he was considering life and the pursuit of happiness, whether or not he wants to come back. We just mentioned to Roy if Tom and or the Bucs were trying to talk Ali Marpet out of retirement. He said, I think the Bucs are trying to talk Tom out of retirement. Whoa. Hey now.
I was not expecting that out of Roy. And like I said going into break, we've had Roy on the air for 15 years.
Yes, we have.
Roy doesn't play the hot take game.
Not at all.
Ever. It's not who he is. It's why we like him as a guest. Roy breaks down games and players and plays and doesn't get into the whole, I got to be first and I got to get some take that's going to go on Twitter and go viral. It's not who he is. But to Roy's point, it is fascinating for a guy who prides himself on being the first one there and the last one there, how important practice is, how we hear all these stories that he knows every player coming into training camp, knows what their name is, spends a little time with everybody. He's been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty close. About 11 days if he comes back today. Yep. But he already knew everybody's name, Mark, so he didn't need name tags. He'll come back. He'll just pick up where he left off. But I got to admit, I have not been thinking that over these last 11 days. I'm wondering how many of you have been thinking what Roy has been thinking, which is, I don't know if TB12's coming back. I mean, Todd Bowles just yesterday said, quote, it'll be this week early when he's back. I've been talking to him every other day. Okay. I don't expect, by the way, Tom to open himself up, which he has done a lot more of in the last 2-3 years. I do not, if you're leaving for personal reasons, I don't think you're coming back and disclosing what the, quote, personal reasons are. Because in theory, wouldn't you have just done that when you left? Maybe not.
David, I agree with you 100%. If it were personal reasons and you wanted to share what those were, you would have left and said, I'm going to do, we had wondered, was it his mom? We had, was it a family member? Well, he doesn't owe us anything to say that.
No.
And if he didn't say it before he left, it seems highly unlikely that he's going to say it when he comes back.
I mean, if his employer gave him permission to take a short leave of absence, then who are we, right? Even though it's a very public job and a few people are interested in all that, there's a little bit of money involved here, but okay.
They'll ask all they want, but he's not obligated to give us answers.
No. I never thought, though. That's why what Roy said took me by surprise, because I haven't considered that at all. At all. But you have to admit, think about what we now know to have been out there. I mean, the whole Sean Payton, Tom Brady to Miami thing was very real. We now know that. And heck, we found out over this past weekend, although I got my bald guys confused, right?
Right. It was Dana White that was talking to Gronk.
Not Joe Rogan. Right. So, but we found out over the weekend during the UFC event that apparently Dana White had worked it out where Brady and Gronk were going to the Raiders 2 years ago. And it was a done deal, according to Dana White. And at the very last moment, Gruden came in and said, nah, I don't think so. I'm not interested. Have to admit, I cannot imagine Tom Brady and John Gruden together.
Would be interesting to say the very least.
At that stage of Brady's career. I could at 24, but I couldn't at 42, 43. Because clearly Brady has just loved the freedom that Tampa has given him, the authority that Tampa has given him. Okay, and clearly Gruden's a control freak. And
yeah, that's all with quarterbacks he doesn't trust. He may have actually trusted Tom enough to not been as freakish with the control. That would be the only thing I would say in contrast to where you're at, because look at who he's been freakishly controlling with.
But also talking about the Bucs today, and because of their injury situation along the offensive line, I mean, think about it. Standout left guard Ali Marpet retires. They're replacing him with Aaron Stinney. He tears both the ACL and MCL on his left knee in the preseason game over the weekend, so he's obviously gone. Ryan Jensen remained at center. He suffered a serious knee injury. They're saying there's a chance this year. Most people are doubtful. Their right guard, Shaq Mason, is the replacement. A lot of people think he's average at best. So they have 2, if not 2.5, glaring holes, and it's straight up the gut in the middle 3-4 gaps of the Buccaneers offense and pass protection, where they have been a rock of Gibraltar for the last 2 years.
Stand up. Immobile quarterbacks don't like pressure up the middle. Nobody likes pressure up the middle, but it's been the one area that Brady has been most affected when you can actually put pressure up there. And right now you're dealing with a whole new offensive line for Tom Brady.
I think you don't mess around. And if the best offensive lineman of the three, if you have to move them, you move them. Like, to me, go get J.C. Treader already. Put him in at center. First off, he's got to be better than the guy you have replacing Jensen. Come on. I mean, like, J.C. Treader graded out as a top 10 center in the league last year. You really think your backup center is better than J.C. Treader? And maybe you move him to guard. Okay, or whatever. But I mean, I'm sorry. You're all in to win a Super Bowl this year. There's no reason to save $1 or a draft pick, to be honest with you, because beginning next year, you could go back to being the Tampa Bay Bucks again. And the Tampa Bay Bucks before Tom Brady were the worst franchise in terms of winning percentage in North American sports since 1976. How many years does Levante David have left? How many more years is Mike Evans an elite Hall of Fame receiver? And by the way, today, he's a Hall of Fame receiver.
But even with what David's saying, and I agree with him that they have to go out in effort to try to trade for a lineman or two, as Roy pointed out, this is a team that's up against it cap-wise. So in order to do that, Roy's suggestion, do you have to cut a Julio Jones in order to get a lineman in there and go with the younger receivers? I don't know how much restructuring could be done to weasel in a few $1 million to pick up someone else. But they are up against it. It's not as simple as just trading for an offensive lineman.
No. There's no doubt they're gonna have to call ownership and say, listen, we may need $15 million cash because we're gonna have to turn some salaries into signing bonuses with $1 million base salaries here. We may have to tack on an extra year on the back end of contracts for cap purposes, but we got to create cap room because we got to rebuild an offensive line, and we're gonna need your cash to do it. But so if you're the Glazers, yeah, you do it. Okay. I mean, God, I owe Man U, for goodness sakes. How much you need? $15 million? I'll get it to you by noon.
Absolutely. But there is work that has to be done, and we'll see what Tampa does here. First off, they need Brady to get back in camp and then go from there. Miller and Moulton. We thank you for listening. If you miss any of the show, you can download the podcast in all the usual places. Simply go to floridasportsnetwork.com as well to pick up on any of the interviews that you may have missed, like Roy Cummings dropping the bombshell on us that he thinks Tom Brady might be talking about retirement. Holy Toledo. Where'd that come from? Miller and Moulton. Back with more in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the two together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You guys like the fresh cut?
Yeah, I know. Go run and get on camera.
I had to show
If you cared as much about producing the show as you did about getting on camera for 30 seconds, I would love you, man. I would absolutely love you.
Moulton would be great on The Masked Singer. He'd go as Grimace. It would be phenomenal. Probably do a Sinatra song. What do you think, Moulton? Big purple suit, you and The Masked Singer doing a Sinatra song?
I'd do it. I mean, it's karaoke in costume.
Right.
I mean, you know, if you're going to do karaoke, what's one more step?
Hey, you're not going to believe it, but Get Up's on, and Greenie's not on it.
Just let me know when they show Tannenbaum.
They did on Friday, by the way. They showed it again. I'm pointing at Philly. We were on the air. I'm like, look up, look up.
I mean, yes, Joe Buck. The very last thing he did for Fox was The Masked Singer. Now, somebody threw that out there on Friday about Brady and The Masked Singer. Somebody came out on Saturday, a media member, and said, I actually have pretty good sources with the show. The answer is no. So take it for what it's worth. Did you see my
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Usually means they want to trade him.
Or cut them. Right. very interesting.
10 seconds.
What's going on?
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A few things going on. First off, Friday, 4 days away, Chase Elliott in Southwest Florida is where he's making his appearance. For those of you in Charlotte County or points even further north, he's coming to a Napa Auto Parts on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers. He'll get there at 11. He'll leave at 1. He will sign autographs for an hour or so in the middle of that. Your best chance to be able to have the place in line that gets you an autograph is to go to one of the 6 area Napa Auto Parts locations in Lee and Charlotte counties that are owned by John, Lisa, Kyle, and Justin, the Napa family, as we affectionately refer to them as. One location in Port Charlotte, one in Cape Coral, one in North Fort Myers, one on Fort Myers Beach, and 2 in Fort Myers, including the Boy Scout Drive location, hence Chase Elliott's appearance.
They thought about changing their last name to Napa, but it would be a lot of confusion with mail and things like that. So they just, said bag it. But
copyright issues and the
exactly.
whole thing. Right. Yeah. But when you go to one of their locations, there's a very good chance that one of them is, they're there because they own it and they run it. So, say hi to them and say, hey, are you with the Napa family? That's what the 2 Yahoos say you guys are.
Can I get a filter?
Listen, I don't want to say the ad plays a lot, but I had dinner with a buddy of mine and his wife. They're both attorneys yesterday. And at one point during the conversation, one of them said to me, I need to buy a Napa filter. And if I do, will you play the ad a little less? Okay. And I said, absolutely not.
No, we'll play it more.
Right. It's obviously working. It's worn you down, if nothing else.
That's the idea.
But we've been talking a lot about the Bucs. We've also been talking about our poll question, which is based off of the life and times of Keonta Johnson. He's the former Gator basketball standout who 20 months ago collapsed playing against Florida State. He was never cleared by Florida to ever play medically again. He ended up getting his degree. He's now a graduate student. He still has college eligibility remaining, and he transferred officially over the weekend to Kansas State. He's been cleared to play. However, he has a $5 million insurance policy if he never plays again. And so what would you do? Play. And you do have pro potential. You're a legit pro prospect. We're not going to characterize you as anything more than that, but you're a legit pro prospect. Do you want to play? Follow your dreams, see what happens, pick up your life as it was 2 years ago? Or do you're like, listen, I'm going to take this as a sign. I'm going to cash the $5 million check, and I'm going to go live a different life than what I was envisioning 2 years ago.
2/3 of you saw the sign because you're taking the money.
Okay.
David and I are dreamers. We're playing.
Mark, without any hesitation, I have at least a disclaimer. I need the doctors to basically say, if you were my kid, I would recommend that you play. That's how confident I am medically that you're going to be safe.
You bring up a really good point there, David, that you have a disclaimer. This is like 2 of the last 3 poll questions that we come up with an A and a B, and you answer the damn question with a C.
Well, I do give an A. I do vote, though. I say I'm voting this way.
Right,
All
but
right.
like the Desean Watson one. Or the Lamar Jackson one. It was the Lamar Jackson one. When you said, well, it was, do you sign him now or do you franchise? Well, I'd wait and see if he got through the year. You threw a whole nother wrench into the mix.
Right. That would be my preferred course of action. But since you're only giving me these 2, I voted to pay him.
Can I ask you guys
But-
something? And it's hypothetical, real quick. But if that number was 10 million instead of 5 million, would you take the 10 million? Or would
No.
you play?
I'd play. It doesn't matter to me.
Hell yeah, Mark.
It doesn't matter. It is, the money has nothing to do with it. It is the fact that
I'm
I have an
with ya.
opportunity to go out and live out my dreams. I've worked. This is a 23-year-old kid who has worked his whole life to get to this spot.
I'm with you.
I'd play.
And he
I
can
think-
play.
I think it would affect me. I
At
do think it would
52-year-old
affect me.
Mark Miller, it would affect. 22-year-old Mark Miller, it would not affect. You're bulletproof at 22. And I don't for the life of me, I've never been able to understand how we get old and completely forget everything that we have been supposed to learn over the course of our time on the planet. But it happens all the time.
I want
right,
you to
here-
elaborate on that, but we don't have the time. So
Well, very quickly, here's why this would be difficult for me. And granted, I can't put myself in a 22-year-old body again, but my dream was always to be a sportscaster. If 35 years ago, for whatever reason, something happened to me and, I couldn't speak, maybe I suffered a stroke. And then 20 months later, I've been medically cleared again. And it's like, listen, you can resume your career. You've got your degree. You could go try to be a sportscaster. Or you can just take this check and you can't do this again for a living. And that's the only thing I've ever wanted to be. I've been very vocal about that since I was 8 years old. I wanted to be a sportscaster. That would have been hard for me. I might have taken the money though, because I probably would have sat down and done the math and tried to figure out, can I earn $5 million as a sportscaster? And I probably would have come to the conclusion that I couldn't.
As a sportscaster, I would have advised you to take the money. Because unlike the athletic prowess, where
Right.
there are several jobs making that kind of money, even with what's happened this summer in the sportscasting world, there are still literally only a handful of jobs where you make that kind of cabbage.
Right. And you and I both have considerable faith that I am not getting one of those jobs.
For all the faith in the world that you could get one, but the odds are just a little bit more stacked against you than if you're a shooting guard.
David.
That's all.
David, the Bucks are calling. They need you right now, man.
So that's our poll question at that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton, at floridasportsnetwork.com. Are you living out your dreams or are you taking the money? We've been talking a lot about the Bucks though and their offensive line. And can we just for a few minutes focus on an interesting situation going on with the Dolphins? Mike Gesicki. Did you catch this over the weekend, Mark?
He played a lot.
Yes. When none of the other starters did.
Right.
That's highly unusual.
Usually means that someone's either going to get cut or traded.
Now, of course, he and Mike McDaniel, the new head coach, are both saying that, listen, this is a unique situation. We all know Gesicki's talent as a receiver. The problem is in my offense, you got to block if you're a tight end. And that's not his thing. Well, it needs to become a thing or else you can't play in this offense. So that's why he wanted to stay out on the field. Gesicki, had a big drop on their opening drive. Drive would have continued on third down. And then he was the one that missed the block, which led to the safety, which for whatever it's worth turned out to be the difference in the game, 15-13. And the coach tried to say, well, the blocking scheme we put in, let's not blame Gesicki. Yeah, he whiffed on the block. And so Gesicki claims that he said to the coaches, I need to keep playing. I need reps. This is new to me. I need to play. It's the only way I'm going to get better. So he played 25 snaps when the starters played 10. So once again, are we believing the coach and player? Or are they trying to pull one over on us?
And this has been a sidebar storyline since camp has opened. The fact that Gesicki does not fit this offense. And what do you do with an ultra talented player who doesn't fit in with the scheme of the offense that you're going to be running.
Yet they franchise tagged him and he accepted. And so a square peg in a round hole is making $10.9 million. But as Mark pointed out, if he doesn't fit this offense, well, is he really going to be here next year? And if he's not a good fit, do you just get rid of him now? Save a little money on the cap, go out, get a better fit at tight end? I mean, right now, Mark, if you traded Gesicki for Cameron Brate, now that wouldn't work cap-wise for the Bucs, but just in terms of style of
the
player.
Bucs either, because the Bucs need every blocking tight end they can get, David. Brate might be playing guard at this point, okay? But yes, I get your point. No,
but they have Kyle Rudolph, who's their quote-unquote better blocking tight end than even Cameron Brate, their number 2 tight end. And they've decided Julio Jones can be a big target over the middle. So that's kind of what we're getting at here, that it is an interesting storyline with the Dolphins where every other storyline has been happy, happy, joy, joy. We're going to win this year and we're going to be exciting.
And the other part of this too is that, when you start looking at the speed that the Dolphins have, not only at receiver, Gesicki is one of the faster tight ends in the league. When you're talking about what speed does, it seems that you could figure a method to use him more, because I think he's a quality player. But I'm wondering, I really wonder if McDaniel is thinking he's a quality player that needs more reps, or we're going to feature him because it's time to get him out of here.
$10.9 million cap hit. And right now, people who are covering the Dolphins are not convinced he's a starter. Interesting trade mentioned in our Twitch chat room. Do you trade Gesicki straight up for Roquan Smith? Well, I know the Dolphins would make that deal yesterday. But needless to say, Chicago would look for a little bit more. Roquan did, by the way, decide, you know what? Okay, you're not going to give me a new deal? Fine. The heck with you. I'll come in. I'll play my last year. By the way, I'm out of here. And when people pointed out to him, well, they could franchise tag you. He's like, no. I already told them. I'll play the last year. I'll keep my mouth shut. I ain't playing another down after this year. You can franchise tag me all you want. I'll stay home.
Yeah, life and the pursuit of happiness does not seem to be with Chicago and Roquan Smith. He is not. I mean, that was even more damning than the sit out or the sit in or whatever you want to call it. No. I'm going to play. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, and I'm done here.
Right. Unless, of course, you want to give me what I'm asking for, then I'll sign an extension and I'll be really happy. But otherwise, I'm going to be one and done.
What do you think they do with Gesicki?
I think they keep him for a year and then they let him walk. I think they'll use him as best they can this year. They'll keep him in case one of their wide receivers gets injured. He's a big target in the red zone. And in fact, I have a feeling that Mike McDaniel basically may say, we'll just put him on the field when we get in scoring range. But up until scoring range, I'll play the blocking tight end. Thank you. He's just not a good fit. I understand why you tagged him and all that, but, he's worth not even half that in this offense for me. McDaniel's trying to say, hey, listen, George Kittle couldn't block too early on when we started working with him. I find that hard to believe because right now he's an absolutely devastating blocker. It's tough to imagine that George Kittle was Mike Gesicki at one point in time as a blocker.
But Gesicki can at least, the franchise tag gives him room to improve. Let's see how much he plays in the final preseason game, if that's the case, because it's not the 4 games anymore. You would imagine the starters are going to play into the third quarter in the final game.
So just a storyline to pay attention to going forward. I mean, teams have to make final cuts by a week from Thursday. I think it's the August 30th, 31st, something like that. Or I guess the 30th, a week tomorrow. So teams got some big decisions to make coming up. That would be a shocker if they moved on from him, either way, by cut or by trade. But right now, he looks to be a second-string tight end making $11 million.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating that they went the franchise tag route and can't find a place to put him on the field to start for those type of dollars with that receiving core and with all of the weapons that the Miami Dolphins have. They're saying, well, we don't need this weapon. This weapon doesn't work with our offense. Miller and Moulton. For those listening in Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, we thank you for starting your Monday off with us. The bonus hour still lies ahead in the 239 on Miller and Moulton. Where else but right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the two together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, tonight we got Marlins at A's. Whew. What will the line on that game be? That might be the lowest attended game this season.
Was wild. You know, if Joe Girardi was the manager yesterday, people would be going crazy because they had used David Robertson the day before for a multi-inning save. And they brought Robertson in yesterday to get the save in the 9th inning, protecting a 1-run lead. Girardi would have been crushed if he did that. And the Mets took 3 or 4 from the Phillies with neither Scherzer nor DeGrom pitching. In fact, they sent 2 minor leaguers to the hill in the series. That's not a good series for the Phillies. Yeah, they do, Mello. Yeah, but the Bucks don't need Gesicki. So, the whole Bucks-Dolphins trade idea it's not a good fit.
The Bucks ain't trading for anybody unless they're an offensive lineman.
Correct.
On the interior. That's
Remember Pat last week said that the Commanders have a bunch of offensive linemen?
mm-hmm.
He thought they had 10.
But that they might keep 9.
Right. So don't you, if you're Tampa Bay, have to call Washington and say, hey, man, we got to talk. RCB, the Ravens are going to put if they don't sign him, they'll tag him twice. So Mark, somebody just brought up Reggie Lewis. I got a text from somebody that said, Keonta Johnson, the Reggie Lewis situation.
Yep.
Yeah, the Eagles do. And if you're the Eagles, you'd love even more draft capital in case you got to go get a quarterback.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. We hope you had a terrific weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Friday, Napa Auto Parts on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers. Chase Elliott to be there from 11 to 1, signing autographs. We're told from 11:30 to 12:30. You can show up and take your best shot about getting in line and getting an autograph, but the odds are against you. The odds are very much in your favor if you go to one of the 6 local Napa Auto Parts dealerships, Port Charlotte, Cape Coral, North Fort Myers Beach, and a pair in Fort Myers, and sign up. And if they contact you and give you your magic ticket, lucky ticket, place in line, bracelet, whatever it is, however they're doing it, now you get one of those, you're getting an autograph.
There's part of this event on Friday, and I still, David's right, but still we want you to show up either way. And when you show up on Friday, there's going to be fun had by all, but more by David towards me when he sees one element that shows up on Friday. I'm not even going to bother with messing with what it is until we see it firsthand. But when David sees one of the things that pull up on Friday, I do think you'll get a big kick out of it at my expense, David. That's all I know.
Wow. Wow, now I'm really looking forward to this.
All I know, but I got to see it first.
Hot damn.
Friday, we will be doing the show live at the Napa Auto Parts on Boy Scout. We'll be there at 6 a.m. until 10. We'll be there later because I'm sticking around for Chase Elliott, so I'll probably be there all morning.
We've been talking about Keonta Johnson and Bucks and Dolphins. Keonta Johnson was the inspiration of our poll question. He is the former Florida Gator, collapsed on the court 20 months ago, hasn't played since. He was a legitimate first-round draft pick type of prospect when he collapsed. In fact, he was the preseason pick to be SEC Player of the Year in the season that he collapsed. Well, he's now gotten medically cleared to play again. Florida, they did not medically clear him, but apparently every other school has. And he considered USC, Memphis, a bunch of other places. He ends up signing with K-State. And ironically, he's going to play against the Gators, knock on wood, on January 28th of this basketball season when they do the whole SEC Big 12 Challenge thing. It'll be at K-State. But he had a choice to make, to follow his dream and return to playing. But if he does that, he forfeits the $5 million insurance policy, which was taken out on his behalf. And so we're asking you, what would you do? And to be fair, when you answer it, try to put yourselves in the shoes of being a 22-year-old again. We're assuming most of you are older than that. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. And Mark, we've talked about a lot of things in and around this situation this morning. But somebody just brought up to us Reggie Lewis. And that obviously is the worst case scenario. Reggie Lewis collapsed during a playoff game in April of '93. Turned out to be the last NBA game he ever played. By the way, he had scored, I think, 13 points in 17 minutes or 17 points in 13 minutes. I mean, he was on fire, and he was a great player. He was an all-star player. And some debate, one set of doctors said he had this condition, he should never play again. He got a second opinion, and he got a doctor to go, no, you've got this. It could be treated. It's not life-threatening. 3 months later, Reggie Lewis was working out playing basketball, and he collapsed and died of a heart attack. And there were lawsuits and accusations and the whole deal. But that obviously is the fear from this. We all of a certain age remember Hank Gathers, who had collapsed previously, got cleared to play, and a few weeks later collapses and never lives to play again. So we all know the severity of this. It played out twice in the 90s, once literally right before our eyes in a game that was televised. So when we ask the question, there is that part of it. What would you do? What would you do?
Now, I have been right from the get-go, I would let my son play, and I would have played in the same situation. I do think that I just have to believe medically some 30 years later, we're in a little smarter spot than we were then. I just think that seems to be logical thinking to say that I'm going to believe what doctors are telling me now versus in the 90s. Even if I brought up either of these old scenarios, I would expect them to say, well, we were there then, we're here now.
Correct. You would like to think that it would be a more accurate diagnosis now. You would like to think that. Who knows? If I could sidebar, and this may seem very tacky to even bring this part of the Reggie Lewis story up. 30 years ago, because it was the summer of '93, so technically 29 years ago, but 30 years ago, when this situation happened and he died, there was not a clause on the book in the NBA deal with the Players Association, and they had just started entering the salary cap world. Lewis's contract counted against the cap for the rest of his contract, which had multiple years left. And a lot of people thought, well, this is unfair.
That's a hard cap. That is a hard cap right there, David.
That's the line of the day so far, Mark. Well done.
29 years. I think I think I can get away with it.
So David Stern, who, had been on the job 10 years, he said, listen, this is a little harsh here, but he had to get a waiver from the rest of the teams in the league. You know how they do business. You need 3/4 of the vote or what have you. So Stern, at an official meeting with the other owners, asks them, hey, don't you think we should grant the Celtics a waiver for what happened? I mean, come on. This is literally the worst case scenario. And whether it was their angst towards Red Auerbach, whether it was their angst towards the Celtics, whether it was all the years that the Celtics had beaten all of those other teams, the rest of the league would not grant the salary cap waiver to the Celtics. And they had to carry Reggie Lewis's contract on the books for the rest of the contract. And it was a multi-year deal. I mean, it was at least 2, I think at least 3 more years, in fact, that he was under contract. He had just signed like a 5-year deal, I believe, the year before. Stern then, later on in his tenure, passed the rule, which basically said, I don't have to ask you insensitive yahoos. We're changing the damn rule.
That's just a pure Celtics hatred right there, David. That's all that is.
We talk about angst/hatred in sports and how it's quote unquote good for sports. Could you imagine today if that situation plays out and the commissioner goes to the rest of the owners in the world that we are in now, and the rest of the owners went, screw the Celtics? No, that's a tough break.
And look I know Winning Time took a lot of creative liberties in their impressions of what happened back in the late 70s and early 80s, but they certainly made it seem like Red Auerbach was not the easiest guy to like in the world. And it would lead me to believe that this is a pretty easy vote for those owners, David.
Well, I could see where it's an easy vote for Jack Kent Cook or for, Mr. Buss. But come on. I mean, for the other, okay, maybe the Sixers. All right. But come on. The Pistons, the way they just done that rivalry recently because Reggie died in 93. But I mean, come on. Really? We can't get 3/4 of you? I mean, excuse me. Do I have to point out the obvious? He's dead. I mean, and they went, nah.
No. We really hate the Celtics. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, we want to kill them too. Right. I mean, seriously, this actually took place. And there was no uproar. No, there's no uproar. It's like, oh, wow, that's how they do business in the NBA. Yeah. Could you imagine that today? Could you imagine? I mean, how many days would the sports world be talking about that if something like that played out today?
And there'd still be a lot of people who would find reasons to agree with that.
Listen.
No, David, there is that much angst towards the entire Boston area right now that you could throw that out there and go, well, yeah, I understand that it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I agree with the rule.
Listen, I don't even think Pat Riley would vote to keep the late Reggie Lewis on the Celtics salary cap. I really don't. And that's Riley with the Lakers, Knicks, and Heat. And I don't think even he would vote for it. I mean, there's cold, and then there's, now that's cold.
It is the Celtics we're talking about here.
And it is still Red Auerbach running thing. Rick Pitino's not walked through that door yet.
No.
Although, actually, I think he's about to. No. Rick's got a handful more years. He's got a handful more years before he walks through that door. And demotes Red Auerbach. Right.
So it's a hell of a story and completely inappropriate, but I can still see a few teams wanting to do exactly that to the Celtics at any point in time.
I could see the Lakers.
Banners up there.
I could see the Lakers. I don't know how many teams were in the league at that point in time. I don't think it was the 30 that there is now. I think there was
Knicks
at least
will do
2.
it just out of jealousy.
Oh boy, man.
And pettiness.
Riley was coach of the Knicks then. I mean, whew. But I mean, Sixers, intense rivalry and what have you. Okay, that's 3. But I mean, come on, we got to get like at least 3 more votes to
the
squash
whole
this.
Eastwood. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, come on. The Cavs aren't doing it.
Yeah, they would.
Michael and the Bulls aren't doing it because they're beating everybody. They just won their third title in a row. Come on. It's a little footnote to the story that, one of those stories that nowadays is, not really talked about much, and just thought the whole story was worth bringing up. That's our poll question.
Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on Twitter to vote on today's poll question. What would you do? Play and live out your dream, or take the $5 million in insurance money? That's the question we're asking. Go to those places on Twitter to vote. When we come back, if you don't mind, David, I want to talk about another meeting and why someone keeps getting invited to these meetings. Because to me, when you're talking about the top guys, he hasn't been one in a long, long time, and somehow he's still sitting in the room. And I'm trying to figure out why. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening. The good, the bad, and the ugly today was a day when, still 25 minutes away on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when and final thoughts, all coming up in roughly 20 minutes' time. Mark, very good tease. Heading into the break, very good tease. I have no idea what you're talking about. So
I'm talking about Live Golf and the PGA Tour and the PGA Tour's meeting last week in Delaware that it took a few days for information to finally get out there. There were 23 players in the room by all accounts. First, there was a report of 22, and then Adam Scott apparently was in the room, so he makes 23. But I'm perplexed as I look through the names of all the players on the list that were leaked out here. Is that Ricky Fowler's on? And I know Ricky went with Tiger Woods, but I'm trying to figure out how Ricky Fowler has so much influence on a tour that he barely qualifies to play. He's that popular that they have to bring. I mean, are they that afraid of losing Ricky Fowler to the Live Tour that they are bringing him on meetings? Because if all reports are right and they're having all of these events for top 40 and top 60 and whatever players, Ricky's not a part of any of those events. He ain't close. So are they that scared of Ricky leaving for the Live Tour? I mean, it seems that they talked him out of it. All his buddies did. But if they're bringing him to all these meetings, then there's still fear that he's leaving for the Live Tour in a week, or at least some fear.
I think they are keeping him close so that he doesn't leave. I think, unfortunately for Ricky, if he doesn't leave in the next few weeks, he may not have a chance to leave for the next 2-3 years. Because my understanding of how the Live is going to operate is they are locking in 48 guys for all 14 events next year. Not like this year. Like they had 48 guys for the first event. 9 of them didn't play in the second event. Then 5 more didn't play in the third event, but one of the guys who played in the first event, who didn't play in the second event, played in the third event. And so now reportedly, they're going to have a week from today, 7 new players announced they're leaving the PGA Tour for the LIV Tour. So they're going to lock in their spots. Mark, my understanding is that's for all of next year. There's then some debate as to, like, Phil reportedly got a 2-year deal. Well, is that this year and next year? Or does that go through 2024? Same with Pat Perez, who reportedly got a 2-year deal. Is that 2 and 3? Or is this year kind of a, hey, we grab what we grab, and then you get 2 years? So, and remember, when does it go to court? We're told now it's going to go January, February of 2024 is when the 2 big lawsuits by the LIV and 11 players are going to go against the PGA Tour. That's going to be in early 2024, antitrust and other matters. And our thought is that we'll get our first court ruling in the spring or summer of 2024.
Which will be appealed. So most of 2024 is going to be spent in a courtroom.
But it'll be interesting, Mark, when do spots open up on the LIV Tour again? Like, are all 48 guys locked in for 2024? Is that just for 2023? Certain contracts expire. Then if the Ricky Fowlers of the world actually want to make the jump to the LIV, is there a spot available for them?
And is there, what are they doing? Because there was talk that they were going to try to bring this whole part of the Asian tour. They're going to have 44 guys leaving 4 spots a year that rotate, that guys can get thrown off the tour. And, they were talking about relegation. So there's got to be room for that as well.
And that, I believe, is in place for 2024, that there is a qualifying series, much like the Corn Ferry Tour. They're setting up their little qualifying series through the Asian Tour and sub events, in which I believe you hit the number on the head. I believe it is 4 new spots will open up, and that this will be the way that they create their own system, their own field.
But I just got a kick out of that Ricky was, flying with Tiger, and then I'm reading all these names, and I read Ricky Fowler on there. I just get a kick out of it because Ricky's getting treated like he's a top 25 guy when he's a top 125 guy. And the only reason he was a top 125 guy was because of all the live players that defected from the PGA Tour to live golf. Or he doesn't even have a card.
So did you also hear, and we talked about this a couple hours ago, first off, the new proposals, it's all based to get the top players that are playing together more often than they currently are. And the plan is to contain large sums of guaranteed money. Huh.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
The proposed series would have top-tier events, which would feature reduced fields.
Huh. Imagine that.
And the other ones that don't make it to the elevated series would still be played for the similar purses they are today, so that the rank and file have an opportunity to make some money. Now, what I'm wondering is they're going to try to entice these top 25 players who are getting 15 events to grab cash to show up for these other events. Why? What's the incentive? I'm being serious here. If they pull this off, what's the incentive for Xander Schauffele to show up at the John Deere Classic?
There's none. There's none. By the way, the purses for these elevated events, and by the way, there may be up to 18 elevated events. So in other words, these are our significant tournaments. The other 25, you're in also-ran status, baby. Please forget about it. I mean, good luck. You know what the fields are going to be like for those? That's over half our tour, by the way. $20 million purses, Mark. I'm sorry. What's the weekly LIV purse? 20 to 25 million. Imagine that. Wow. So limited fields with no cuts, playing for big money, and some players are now going to start getting appearance fees.
Now, this is just what was proposed by the top players to Jay Monahan. And, obviously we all know the commissioner of the tour can do whatever he wants and not take marching orders from the top players. Or then, of course, he could always lose his job by not taking marching orders from the top players.
I was going to say, up until the last 8 months, that Jay Monahan, along with a couple of other key guys, could pat the players on the head and say, that's nice, we'll take it under advisement, and then come back at the next meeting and go, by the way, the answer's no. And the players, for whatever reason, said, okay, all right, thanks. Now, my guess is that they're dictating to Jay Monahan, this is what we want the tour to look like. We know you have the money, by the way.
If you were Jay Monahan, how would you handle this? And I'm being serious here, because I don't know how you just concede the rest of your events. Wouldn't you rather say we need to keep something similar to what we have, but everybody who plays in it is guaranteed money? Or is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you get cut, you still get paid, because if not, you're destroying half the tour, destroying it.
Well, I could argue it's better than having the whole tour destroyed, which is clearly what the top players think is a possibility. By the way, if you're the top players and you believe legally that the PGA Tour is in the right, do you blow up the tour like this? Or wait, do you not care? Because just like the guys who went to LIV for the money, you're playing golf for the money too. And you don't give a damn about everybody else. You just want to do it under the guise of the PGA Tour so that you could be just as selfish a blankety blank as they are, but they're rot stinking blankety blanks and we're not.
Yeah.
We're holding up the values of the PGA Tour.
We didn't take the blood money. That's all that they'll have going for them. Miller and Moulton. Always looking to take some money. We'll take it from any file. Really, we will. Call today. Sponsorships available. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap? on the other side, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
If you own 6 Southwest Florida Napa stores and were a big NASCAR fan, wouldn't you put the two together?
How about bringing Chase Elliott to Fort Myers?
Friday, August 26th, Chase Elliott will sign autographs at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers beginning at 11 a.m.
The best way to get in line, stop by one of the 6 family-owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Napa Auto Parts, 1820 Boy Scout Road, 1220 Vizcaya Parkway in Cape Coral, 532 Pine Island Road in Fort Myers, 532 Pine Island Road in North Fort Myers, 4175 Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, and 17284 San Carlos Boulevard on Fort Myers Beach.
And don't forget about the Napa location in Punta Gorda at 1810 Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet and get an autograph with Chase Elliott.
Coming Friday, August 26th at the Napa store on Boy Scout Drive starting at 11 a.m. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, wasn't it, I'm not a wrestling guy anymore, but wasn't it good? Like, didn't they have a run where people were enjoying their product more than the WWE product? Or am I hallucinating that? I thought I was reading that on Twitter. And you're right, CBW. The top players will probably only play those lesser events if there's a sponsorship obligation, maybe a personal relationship involved with somebody.
God damn.
I don't believe so, Logic Man. One, I don't think we've got the corporate money. Also, not sure there's of the few courses that are tour caliber, I don't think they'd be willing to give it up for multiple weeks, which you have to do.
It's not like it's not a big deal or anything. Who's hiring? Because I need a job come October. Anthony, you listen? I'll come sell some Clutch vodka for you, buddy.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Gary Sharp, live from Omaha. After all, Saturday's Nebraska Northwestern from Dublin to kick off the college football season. Talk to Gary Sharp, who's all over the Nebraska Cornhusker scene. Used to be a voice in Southwest Florida back in the day. Talk to Gary tomorrow morning early, and then Pat Kerwin in our 8 o'clock hour.
Reminder to slide by one of the Napa Auto Parts stores this week, whether it's on Boy Scout or in Fort Myers, Viscaya and Cape Coral, Pine Island in North Fort Myers, Palm Beach Boulevard in Fort Myers, or San Carlos Boulevard on the beach, or you can go to the Punta Gorda store on Tamiami Trail. Sign up for your chance to meet Chase Elliott this Friday. We will be at the Napa on Boy Scout, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for our show. Chase will be there at around 11 in the morning, signing autographs at about 11:30. Your opportunity to meet a NASCAR star right in our backyard here in Southwest Florida. Time now for...
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
And I've got to be honest, David, I have got nothing for today. I did this over the weekend and was still startled at how little happened on August 22nd. But the first Geneva Convention was today in 1864. Today in 1901, the Cadillac Motor Company is founded. Today in 27, Ruth hits his 40th en route to 60. Got a lot more pitches than Judge is going to get the rest of the way, David.
Well, you know why? He had this guy hitting behind him named Gehrig.
All right, I did this specifically for you, David, and I probably should have looked more into it, but it was today in 1933 that Bill Veeck urges midsummer interleague games and a split season. Today in 1933, David.
The man was onto something.
Today in 56, Elvis begins filming Love Me Tender. Today in 59, the American Football League is officially named in a meeting in Dallas. Charter members include Dallas, New York, Houston, Denver, LA, and Minneapolis, St. Paul. Today in 61, Maris hits his 50th of 60. I mean, just of 61. Just think about that. Ruth in 27 hits his 40th. Maris hit his 50th. And Ruth still got to 60. Today in 65, Juan Marshall hits Dodger catcher John Roseborough in the head with the bat, causing a 14-minute brawl. Only 14 minutes is what I really say. 66, the Beatles arrive in New York. And in 80, Bill Veeck agrees to sell the White Sox to Eddie DeBartolo for $20 million. The AL owners blocked the sale. Stand By Me is released today in 96, the movie, not the song. And Nolan Ryan strikes out his 5,000th batter today in 1989. That batter would be Rickey Henderson. Those born today that are no longer with us, Norman Schwarzkopf and Lane Staley. Carl Yastrzemski celebrating his 83rd birthday. Bill Parcells is 81. Paul Molitor, 66. Story Amos is 59. Mats Wielander is 58. Randall Cobb is 32. And LaMelo Ball can buy a drink legally.
You mean he has the money? I'm going to throw a few things out at you.
All right.
Nothing big. First America's Cup was today in 1851. The U.S. won it. In the year 2525, ended their 6-week run at number one. Was it Zager and Evans? Is that the group?
I think that's right.
In the year 2525.
It's a one-hit wonder there.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That's pretty much it.
All right.
All right. That's all I got.
And that takes us to?
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I've got Lee County Sheriff's Department as the good today because a 9-year-old boy was missing. He had some medical issues. He's reported missing. And deputies, along with a bloodhound, able to do their job, do it quickly. Boy is fine. Everybody is fine. Great work by all members involved, to say the very least. He was not hurt and found a few minutes after the call. For the bad, we go to Lehigh Acres and Pizza Hut. Where
What?
Listen to this. Man walked into a Pizza Hut, said he had to use the bathroom. And no, this isn't a joke. After 30 minutes, one worker knocked on the door asking if the man was all right. That's when the man noticed that water was coming out from under the door and flooding the lobby.
Oh, boy.
The man decided to go into the bathroom and rip the sink off the wall and then sit out in his car and wait for police to come and arrest him. He was taken to the hospital for evaluation.
That's what he consciously decided to do?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a lot of pizzas that I'd choose before that one. But I'm not going in and ripping a sink off the wall. Finally, the ugly. And because everything's okay, David, I could only imagine this happening to you. On an Ethiopian Airlines flight, well, 2 pilots apparently fell asleep and missed their landing.
They both fall asleep. Oh, come on, guys.
According to aviation news site Aviation Herald, the flight was doing 37,000 feet on autopilot when it failed to descend. Air traffic control was unable to get the crew originally after several attempts. However, an alarm was triggered when the plane overshot the runway and continued along its route. Turns out that the plane was landed safely. Everybody was fine. But the plane missed its landing, David, because the pilots were asleep.
Could you imagine that, in which all of a sudden you grab a flight attendant and you go, hey, I'm just curious. When are we landing? I thought this was like a 4-hour flight.
Imagine being where you got the screen in front of you where you're watching, you're
Right.
watching the radar.
Wait.
Excuse me.
Hey, miss, I've never seen this before. Did we miss our landing? Because
I think we missed our exit.
Because if you take a look at this screen here, I mean, I've never seen this before. Have you?
I'm trying to think of the Braves pitcher that missed his exit, was just driving around.
Pascual Perez.
Driving around 275, couldn't find the ballpark.
Right. Exactly.
Well, And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 22nd, 2022.
That's fantastic. I will have that in my head now for like my next 12 flights. I'll be like, man, I hope these guys are paying attention. 9 baseball games today. A couple of meaningful ones. I mean, first off, both the Rays and Marlins are in action. Rays are hosting the Angels. Did you see what Joe Madden had to say, by the way, over the weekend? He always considered himself an Angel. That was where he came up through the minors as a coach and what have you. When the Rays hired him, I think he was the third base coach under Sosha with the Angels. So he always thought of himself as an Angel. And they interviewed him with Mark Tompkin of the Tampa Bay Times there interviewed him and said, hey, big series for you. You coming to town? He's like, nope. Oh, why? I've got, no attachment to the Angels whatsoever. And quite frankly, I'm having too good a time here in Hazleton, PA. Play golf every day. My mom's just down the road. She's 90. Nope. I got no interest at all. Thought that was interesting. Marlins are in Oakland, ladies and gentlemen. You want to play guess the attendance on a Monday night in Oakland for the Marlins and the A's combined? Officially, they are 49 games under 500.
If I were to put the over-under at 7,500, would you go under?
I would not only go under, I was thinking 5,000 for the over-under. That's how low I think this could be. I really think the first digit could be a 4.
At night.
Right. In Oakland on a Monday night. I don't know if they're back to school yet or not. I'm assuming they're not. But it's not like Alcantara is even pitching. He pitched yesterday.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're a goober baseball fan, you're like, ooh, that might be the best pitcher in the National League. Let me go out and see him. No. So, anyway, Mets-Yankees, first of 2 tonight. Scherzer pitching for the Mets. And they may come back with DeGrom tomorrow. So, believe it or not, the Mets are a favorite in the Bronx against the Yankees probably each of the next 2 nights. I will say this, Mark. Brewers-Dodgers, which is an interesting series because it's a potential playoff matchup. It was the LCS a few years ago. But if the Brewers make it, they're likely going to make it as a 6 seed. So it's possible. But anyway, Milwaukee in LA, 5 back at the Cardinals, a game and a half back at the Phillies for the final playoff spot. But the Braves actually play more games the rest of the way against winning teams than the Mets, but not for a little while. The Braves have a really soft part of their schedule continuing for another about 2.5 weeks here. So while they're 4 back, don't be surprised if the Braves cut into that. And then once we get past like Labor Day weekend, then believe it or not, the Braves schedule's a little harder the rest of the way than the Mets.
Well, and I mean, that's if you're trying to buy that the Mets couldn't have an easier week. They got the worst team in baseball today and tomorrow, and then they got the Rockies coming to town.
Mark saw the stat that the Yankees are the worst team in August with 5-14.
Yeah, they are. And where are they since the All-Star break? 28th? They're playing terrible. No. They're not even playing average baseball, David. They are playing. Boone's banging his hand on the table during pressers.
Well, and also you go all the way back to when they were 50-20. They're 4 games below 500 in their last 52 games. That's a third of a season. They're playing worse than Boston Red Sox baseball for a third of the season right now. There's no doubt.
We're still having to figure out which team's which right now, David.
Cardinals and Cubs are playing. That's always fun. They hate each other. Cardinals have won 7 in a row. Monday Night Football tonight. Want something to bet on and to watch for that matter. Steve Levy and company broadcasting Falcons at Jets. Oh, baby.
Wow. If that Bears-Seahawks game wasn't enough to get you excited about the start of the National Football League season, boy, I'm sure this one's got it down.
Something you're not going to see very often, ladies and gentlemen. Atlanta as a road favorite this year. Marcus Mariota and company are a 2.5-point favorite in Jersey.
That is 2 nationally televised games here recently, of which all 4 teams have the potential to be on the clock.
I was going to ask, how many of these 2 teams do we think will be drafting in the top 5 this year? 0,
Both.
1, or 2?
Both. Atlanta's a top 5 pick. You can almost write that down right now.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking both are last place teams, obviously that makes them eminently qualified to be in the top 5.
And we have both of these teams finishing last in their respective divisions.
No doubt. Flacco to play a quarter, because the thought is he will be playing the opener against the Ravens. So they'll give him a quarter and that'll be it. I think Mariota is going to play a little more than that for Atlanta. We'll say playing time. You know, we were analyzing or overanalyzing the Gesicki playing time in the Dolphins preseason game over the weekend. You know, do you know who was really impressive in the last preseason game? The Cincinnati quarterback for the Falcons. Remember they drafted him in the 2nd round? And yeah, he looked really good. And there's already people in Atlanta who are like, come on, Marcus Mariota's not the answer. Play the kid.
Well, if you're going to overanalyze, so's Pickett in Pittsburgh. He's got 3 incomplete passes through 2 games so far. I mean, they're already getting overexcited about their draft pick as well. And when Mitch Trubisky's but when Mitchell Trubisky's in front of you,
right,
it doesn't take long for the same sentiment to be played in Pittsburgh.
And this is a case where obviously both general managers are the ones that pulled the trigger and made the deals respectively for Trubisky and Mariota. So they are inclined to play Trubisky and Mariota because it's a bad look on them. But just throwing that out there.
So that's, hey, there actually may be a couple of quarterback, I don't say jobs available, but at least some quarterback controversy, which for bad teams, at least it's something to get excited about. Because what do you have? Winning or hope? And they're both hoping that these quarterbacks that they took, one in the 1st, one in the 2nd round, can get something done.
By the way, Tom Brady at Bucs practice already. He's been spotted, and he is at Bucs practice. He is practicing today. This is what Todd Bowles said 11 days ago was going to happen, and it's happened. We'll see if Brady talks after the practice, and if he says anything that we can talk about. My guess is no and no.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin expected to join us on the show tomorrow as we are inching closer to the start of the season. We thank you so much for listening today. If you missed it, download the podcast. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter